Good afternoon and welcome to the arena in Birmingham for the 2018 Trampoline Tumbling and DMT British Championships. We've got a spectacular afternoon of sport lined up for you with these powerful and dynamic gymnastics disciplines sure to impress. We've got a nice crowd in the arena here ready for all of the action from this afternoon's competition. We'll be kicking things off with the DMT or double mini trampoline, followed by the tumbling, and the trampolining event will fire out the afternoon. We've got some exciting senior finals here. We'll be featuring all of the top GB gymnasts in these disciplines. So it's sure to be an action-packed afternoon with plenty of flips and twists and high-octane action across the board. We're going to be kicking things off with DMT, otherwise known as double mini trampoline, and I'm going to be joined in just a few moments by an expert commentator to help talk us through all of the technical detail of that. But to introduce us to this discipline, why not let's take a look at this video that explains all about DMT.
DMT, or double mini trampoline, combines the run of tumbling with the rebound of trampoline. There are two zones on the DMT. The first is called the mount zone. This is the angled part at the front. The flat part on the top is called the spotter or dismount zone. Gymnasts sprint towards the DMT and perform their mounting skill. This can be a single, double, or even triple somersault. Power is the key to generating good height from the angled bed, giving more airtime for the skill. If their first skill is a straight jump, they will need to perform a spotter skill. The spotter skill must take off and land in the spotter zone. Accuracy is key, as the DMT is only 92 centimeters wide. The final part of the pass is called the dismount. Propelling themselves from the DMT high into the air, they need to land in the red zone to avoid losing marks. Judges are looking for good execution of skills with high difficulty and controlled landings. Britain is enjoying its best ever generation of DMT gymnasts with European success in 2016 and world success in 2017. So you're sure to be in for a real treat.
So you can see there that DMT is a very technical, very exciting discipline, and I'm delighted to be joined by Mr. Pete Cracknell, who's going to be taking us through all of the action this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem at all, thank you for having me.
Very exciting to have you here. You're a gymnast who is very experienced in DMT. I think we've got just a moment to take a look at one of your past performances.
Oh dear, here we go. Yeah, a while ago now, I think 2011 that was, but yeah, good fun stuff.
So it's fantastic to have you back here in the arena for this British Championships. You've competed in a few yourself. What does it mean to be part of a British Championships event?
Oh, the British Championships, I mean, by far the most exciting event of the year in terms of the domestic calendar, and it's just so large, so exciting, and just so much going on here.
Absolutely, we've got a fantastic afternoon of action to come. So just to take you through the running order for today. So we'll be kicking things off with our senior women's DMT finals at about 1:20, so just in a couple of moments' time. That'll be swiftly followed by the senior men's DMT finals. Once we've got DMT wrapped up, we'll be moving our attention over to tumbling. So we've got session 3 and 4 with the women's and men's senior tumbling finals. And we'll be wrapping up the afternoon with the trampolining finals, kicking things off with the men. And finally, with the women's event, with the return of Olympic medalist Bryony Page. So we'll be keeping you entertained all afternoon. So in just a couple of moments' time, we'll be getting the gymnasts in for this first final of the afternoon. What will they be thinking about right now? They're in the bowels of the arena, getting ready to perform. What will be going through their minds?
I think everyone will have a different approach, but mostly I think most people will be looking to calm their nerves, try and focus on just the passes they need to get done, and recreate what they can do in training.
And it's a fascinating weekend of competition where every performance counts. So these gymnasts had to perform yesterday for qualifications in order to make it through to this final today. But those scores are carried over, aren't they, as well?
Yeah, this is an incredibly tough competition. We're looking at the total score over all 4 passes. So the 2 passes from yesterday added to the 2 passes today. So consistency is king if you want that British title.
Absolutely, and the way that score is calculated as well, like all our gymnastics disciplines, it's a really fine balance of difficulty versus execution. How will that play out today, do you think?
Yep, so one of the reasons I love double mini trampoline so much is the fact that it's so much about difficulty. Big skills score really high, and they're weighted a lot more so than in other disciplines. So difficulty is king. If they can get that right, they're looking at the title.
And when we were talking earlier, we were taking a look at the panel of judges. You were saying they've got quite an efficient system now, so all of those judges have different roles and different things to look for in a pass.
Yeah, it's great in that the judges now all have a job to do. It means they can keep things moving quickly. So we've got 5 execution judges just looking for quality of the form and how the skills are, a difficulty judge, and finally a chair of judges overseeing everything.
And he's the individual that's just having the final word with the gymnast now, isn't he?
So we've got Martin Laws here, the chair of judges, just talking to gymnasts, just preparing them for what's ready in terms of the rules or any tips of advice. Usually just saying things along the lines of calm down, enjoy yourself.
Yeah, and hopefully wishing them a final message of good luck.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a very exciting atmosphere here in the arena in Birmingham. It's, quite a large crowd. It's a big arena. We've got the lights going, we've got the smoke going. What does that add to the sort of competitive experience for these gymnasts?
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible. It's so nice compared to your training environment, which, it can be a bit quite different in terms of flat lighting or whatever. Here, you get that big buzz, that absolute excitement, and different gymnasts will respond differently to the buzz that goes on here.
So we can hear that the arena has gone down in tone a little bit. So these guys are going to get their warm-up underway. So let's take a look at one of our top qualifiers from yesterday's competition.
So here we have Kim with her first pass of the day yesterday. So that's a half-out pike, double front with a half twist, followed by a double straight with a very good landing. Slight wobble, but otherwise a very good landing. And now her second pass. So you can see a strong run in double mini, double front with a half twist, and then a full twisting double back straight. Half in, half out, we call that. Very good landing again. I'm very happy with that.
Lovely work. A good balance of difficulty and execution like we were talking about. So the gymnast completed 2 passes yesterday. It's another 2 again today. Will they be looking to do the same routines they did yesterday, or will be upping the ante for the finals?
So in double mini, we have to have 4 different passes. So they have to change up their moves. So we'll be looking at the, either spotter skills or mount skills, a variety of different techniques you can use, but the moves have to be different. So they'll be changing things up. So some people might have done harder passes yesterday to score higher, or some might be doing bigger skills today. So we don't always know how they're going to do until all 4 passes are added up.
It's certainly going to be interesting to see how all of that plays out. So I think we can take a look now at the start list for this final. The gymnasts compete in reverse order for how they qualified yesterday. So our top qualifier will be competing last. So kicking off this flight, we have got Ruth Shevlin from Dynamo Trampoline Academy. Coming up second will be Becky Jarrett from Whirlwinds Trampoline Club, followed by Lucy Steele from Birkenhead. Her teammate Bethany Williamson will be following her. And then from the City of Edinburgh Trampoline Club, Kiara Donlevy. From Heart of England, Phoebe Williams. Our second qualifier yesterday, Caitlin O'Brien, will be looking to push for that British title. And our leader from yesterday, Kim Beattie from Bankery Trampoline Club, will be hoping to retain that lead and take the title.
Yeah, cannot wait, and I could not predict who would win this one. It is such a tight competition. The quality in Britain right now is so high, and in fact the current European champion, senior European champion, made a mistake yesterday, so he's out unfortunately, but we've still got a very, very tight competition.
So actually the door is kind of left open there, isn't it? These guys must think there's a real opportunity here for them to make a move up into those medals.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. Kirsty is, she scored the highest score ever scored in the world at European Championships. So she's, someone everyone in the world is scared of right now. But that unfortunate mistake due to a small injury means that she's out. But yeah, it's all to play for now. Could be almost anyone's.
Yeah, and I suppose that demonstrates as well just what a sort of fine line we have between success and failure in this sport. Sort of watching some of the younger age categories earlier, the smallest mistake can just send you offline and then your run's over.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really small piece of equipment, as you can see there, and just the room for error is so small. And especially as you jump higher, though we want to jump higher, we get more skills in, more twists in, more somersaults, it actually means your room for error decreases.
Absolutely. And the judges, I don't envy their job at all here. So to identify the skills that these gymnasts are performing at the speed at which they perform them is really quite a task. So for a spectator who maybe hasn't watched DMT before, what kind of things can we look for that would indicate a really good quality routine?
So yeah, as I said, we've got execution and difficulty. So execution judges will be looking at nice tight shapes, pointed toes, and then the twist done through that nice straight position. And then they'll also be looking at the landings. The landings are very important in this sport. That's different to trampoline, obviously, in terms of making sure you land in the box and with no steps if possible.
And talking of the landing, something that's quite easy for people to look out for is those different coloured mats on the landing area, isn't it? What do they mean?
Yeah, so it's like your dartboard. You want to land in the red box in the centre there. There's no deduction for that. Anywhere else, and you start picking up deductions, and that really can make a big difference. Introduced in 2009, it really changed the sport, so look for even more consistency.
All right, so it looks like the warm-ups have concluded. The gymnasts get a couple of touches just before the actual competition begins, but it looks like we are ready with our first gymnast. From Dynamo Trampoline Academy, first up, it's Ruth Chevelin.
So Ruth recently made the GB team with picking up a silver medal at the Europeans.
And you can see just taking those final deep breaths, trying to compose herself ahead of this first run.
Superb gymnast. Made an uncharacteristic mistake yesterday, but looking to correct that today. So this is a spotter skill. Double front. Wow, there we go. Double twisting, double back. We call that a full. Incredible skill. Very few women in the world doing that skill. So even though she qualified in 8th, actually looking at a very, very impressive pass there. Was in the puck position.
And hit like a dartboard right into the centre of that landing mat. 33.9 is her reward.
Unfortunately, very difficult for the win, but we'll see what she gets.
So our second competitor is going to be Becky Jarrett from Whirlwinds Trampoline and DMT Club, which feels like an appropriate name for this discipline.
Yes, it is. Lots of twisting in this sport. Becky's a member of the England DMT squad. Focusing.
Well, and it's actually tricky, isn't it, when you've got one of these kind of long waits at the end of the run. DMT typically quite a fast-moving competition, so having this extra sort of time to have to think about things could be challenging.
This is difficult, having those pauses. That wasn't too long a pause, but it can be very difficult to keep your focus. Half out pike, double back pike. There we go. Step out to the box, and she will get a deduction for that. Job done though. She looks happy with that. Just struggling to get those legs straight though, unfortunately. The execution judges might take a few off there, but happy to see that completed. So Coach Jason there, the England DMT coach.
Just waiting for the score from the judges. As we say, they've got quite a lot to consider. But it looks like we might be ready for that score now. 32.6 puts her in second place currently, but still plenty more gymnastics to come. The next gymnast to take to the DMT. Looks like she's just about ready to go. Here we have Lucy Steele from Birkenhead.
Member of the current GB squad, very impressive talent. Straight Bryony, double back straight, a very straight position. Straight Bryony single somersault at the beginning there will give a lower difficulty, but a very clean pass. In double mini though, the total score will not be as high because difficulty is weighted, so important in this sport.
And the score in nice and quickly there for a more simple pass, 32 dead. So swiftly followed by her teammate. We've got Bethany Williamson up next.
Another member of the team that went out to Azerbaijan early in the year and won that team silver medal. She performed a half out straight yesterday in prelims, a very unique skill. Good strong run. Half out tucks, fill in back straight with a great stick, very, very clean. So that's a full twist in the first somersault, followed by straight back, so double straight with a full twist. She should be happy with that, and she looks like she is.
She looked like she was using her fingernails to dig on to hold on to that landing there.
She did very, very well. With your heads that low, it means your centre of mass is in the wrong place. It can be difficult to stick, but she did very, very well.
A big score for that, 34.6.
Huge score, huge score. Very few women in the world are scoring over 35, so 34.6 is a very high score.
So here we go with Kiara Donlevy.
So a member of the GB squad as well. So we've got a spotter skills, that's a straight jump on, double front with a half twist, and a full in back. Oh no, hands have gone down.
And that actually looked like she had the rotation, but almost had a bit of an awkward bounce when she landed.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a difficult one. Once you finish the skill, you've got to spot the landing, and I suspect she just didn't see it in time in order to be able to adjust and bend those knees to accept the landing. Judges will take deductions for putting her hands down, but they'll probably give it as a pass.
Here we go, the score then for that pass.
Okay.
So we'll just wait for confirmation of that a little bit later. But next up, we have Phoebe Williams from the heart of England. Not too far from where she trains, here in Birmingham.
Yeah. Phoebe's another exciting talent in the sport of DMT. Great junior who took some time off and came back as a senior and has really done well, winning another person who won that silver medal at teams in Europeans this year. Another half out tuck, followed by half in half straight, or back in full straight. It depends on how she sees it. We all disagree sometimes over these things. So there's a full twisting double back straight mostly, with a good landing, very, very clean as well. Good line out there, straight legs, pretty straight line, and then the landing was in the box, stepped out of the box, will cost us slightly.
So a slight deduction on the landing, but really good quality in the air on that pass. I'm sure that will be reflected in her score. Seems to be quite good camaraderie between these gymnasts. They obviously know each other well from many years of competing together.
Oh, they do. It's great to see. They get on so well. All really good friends. Obviously, they want to win, but at the same time, they do get on very well and support each other, especially when they go out to the internationals. Yep. So the passes have to be unique. So one of the possibilities, oh no, it looks like it's okay, is you can't repeat an element, otherwise it gets deducted.
34.1 for her is a successful pass. And now we come to Caitlin O'Brien. Did very well in qualification yesterday from the City of Edinburgh Trampoline Club. She'll be hoping to repeat her same success here.
So she won the World Age 2017. 17 to 21 category. So World Age champion. Wow, Bryony back straight. I've not seen that from her before. Followed by double back straight. That's a new pass for her. Now under the new rules, that should be okay. So she actually struck the blue pad with her foot, and the blue pad did move. But depending on what the judges see, she should be okay. So as you can see, there we go. She does strike the blue pad on the side there.
From her reaction, she doesn't look entirely satisfied with that pass.
Under the old rules, that would have been a 0 pass. Under the new rules, there's a good chance they'll count it, but it's up to the judges.
So is it that if you have a complete contact with that blue pad, potentially it would just be a 0 score?
Yeah, they're looking for elasticity. So they're looking for the trampoline to be used, which in my opinion, she used the trampoline, so she got a full height dismount. If you lose some height, then it's not counted as a full pass.
So here we go, let's see what effect that might have had.
It is subjective. It's up to the judges to decide what they think.
There we go, 32.2, so not the highest that we've seen, but certainly not as devastating as it could have been.
Yeah, landing outside the box was actually more expensive because she was slightly twisted.
And our final athlete, our top qualifier from yesterday, Kim Beattie.
Good strong run, spotter skill, so straight jump on, double front, half out pike, double back tucked, good stick, but her difficulty was weighted yesterday. So that's a lower difficulty, unless it's a mistake. That's quite a low difficulty pass to someone at her level. So this is going to be a really tight final now, because yes, she was winning after yesterday, but she's not got the difficulty today.
It looked like she had quite a distance to travel after her first skill to kind of get herself onto the landing area. Do you think she played it safe?
I think possibly you're right. It's hard to know. I don't know what her pass that was planned was, but it is low difficulty.
Well, it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. Of course, someone that showed us some tremendous difficulty in her first pass of the final here, Ruth. She's back for her second pass, and this could be a deciding one, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think she's here to prove a point. So unfortunate mistake yesterday means it's unrealistic that she can win, but it'd be really nice for her to say win the final, just so she knows. So half out pike, half in half pike, slightly bent knees there. I'll have to see how they count that. So it's either obviously in the pike position we're looking for straight legs, so pretty straight there, and then in the half in half pikes, that's another full twisting double back. Knees a bit bent, quite high difficulty.
So after the first round of this final, Kim did manage to retain her lead, but it is quite a narrow one. So it's certainly going to be interesting to see how this plays out with the remainder of the runs. Ruth scoring though 32.8 as we come on to our second run of this final. For Becky Jarrett from Whirlwinds.
So looks a little bit nervous, very difficult in this environment. The pressure they're under is incredible, the amount of hours that go into training. Half out tuck, double back tuck. So double pass. Not with the difficulty to challenge the others, but still clean. Landed in or near the box. So you can see from this angle. Oh, didn't get that left arm up, which is one of the reasons she's cast slightly, travelled slightly outside of the box. But she seems happy to have got her passes down. This sport can be very cruel. Mistakes can really add up in this sport, so she's done very well to get those 4 passes completed.
That looks like a very clean and comfortable final pass for her. Sometimes it's nice just to have those confident skills to get out there.
Exactly. Going home, that long drive home, if you've made a mistake, can be really soul destroying. So she should go home very happy with her performance.
Yeah, these gymnasts only get a handful of competitions a year, and obviously the British Championships, I suppose, is one of the crowning competitions of their year. So you really want to deliver a good performance. Yeah,
definitely. And this is also a World Championship trial. So they really want to hit this right, a lot of these gymnasts, if they want to make it. There's 4 spaces available. So out of these this competition of 8, 3 of them probably will be looking at trying to make that space. There's Kirsty as well, who's not here, but she'll also be looking for that space.
So for her final pass, Lucy Steele takes to the DMT.
Just a bit of mental prep there. Spotter skill, another single, very clean. In terms of execution, very little you can take off. I'm not a qualified judge, but I would say there's not much you can take off in terms of the form scores there. But the low difficulty of a single double will score a lower score, unfortunately.
Yeah, when you see a routine like that and it's just so clean, it's got the stuck landing, you know, execution-wise it's going to do well.
Yeah, that would do very well in trampoline, but the women's double minis scored, they're looking for those doubles, ideally twisting doubles, or later on we might see some triples.
And that reflects in the score a little bit, 31.8 for Lucy Steele. We've got her teammate up next, second gymnast from Birkenhead in this final.
Yep, so she's completed there.
So here we go then, her teammate is Bethany Williamson from Birkenhead.
So Beth, a very unique competitor, variety of skills. Half out pike, Oh wow, back in full straight, love that skill. Double back straight with a full out to fill in the second somersault. Very, very clean, good landing. It's really going to add up to a high pass, high score this one. Very impressive straight legs there. Very similar to the half and half straight. Yeah, she's done her job there. Good chance of a podium there. Wow, 34.6, great score.
Fabulous, 34.6. She's going to be pleased with that as her final run of this championships.
Gives her a good shot at qualifying for the World Championships later this year as well.
She jumps up to first place in the rankings. And Ciara Donlevy ready for her final pass. She's got a bit of work to do if she wants to get up into these rankings, but she's going to look to go clean.
There we go, spotter skill, straight jump on, half out pike, double back pike in the box. Not the highest execution, but she did it successfully into the box, so not too many deductions there. So the difficulty with doing spotter skills, you've actually got 3 skills to do. So the room for error is even larger, but she's very well there to keep it together.
There we go, there's the score for Ciara, 33.1. So we've got the final 3 competitors now in this final. The ones who will really be fighting it out for those top 3 spots. And it's Phoebe Williams up next.
Yeah, very tense, still can't decide who's going to win this. There's all to play for. Kirsty, the current British champion, isn't in the final, so good chance it'll be a new person winning the British title this year. Half out pike, pulling back. Okay, so the half out pike didn't land forwards into the next area, and that makes it very difficult. The DMT is a cruel device. If you don't land in the right area, it's very difficult to get the forces needed to get off the mini, and she just clipped it there, I think, as well.
So difficult, you know, you've got to pull hard to get it round, just for your safety as much as anything else, but yeah, unfortunately a huge impact on her score there, 23, and that is going to leave her some way down in the rankings.
Yeah, so they scored that means it was scored out of 1 rather than out of 2, so missing a big chunk of the score that she would have wanted.
So, Caitlin O'Brien, our penultimate competitor. What will that mean for her?
Caitlin's fantastic under pressure, as I said, winning that World Age title last year. The spotter skill. She went long, but she survived. Oh my word. There we go. So with that spotter skill, she landed very far forwards in the double mini trampoline. That makes it very difficult to then do a forward skill again. So she had to move her hips backwards. So you see where her feet are going to land very near the front of the DMT. But she managed to do it, and then she's right on the bungee, the end of the double mini there. Looks like she was aiming for double back pike, but had to tuck it to get round. But it meant she landed safely, which in this game can be very, very important.
Yeah, so 2 passes for her there that haven't quite gone to plan, but 32.2 her score. It'll be interesting to see where she pops up in the rankings. But our final competitor, our top qualifier from yesterday, Kim Beattie from Banbury Trampoline and DMT Club, will be looking to tie up this British Championships now.
It's tense here, still hard to predict who's going to win. Half out tight to back pike, very clean, but landed outside of the box. That's going to be really expensive. Big deduction for landing outside the box there, because the difficulty again was a bit low. So clean execution, nice tight tuck shape, long straight line, double back pike, good line out, but out of the box there. Bit of a wobble on the landing.
She looks pretty happy with the performance, but it felt like she went for 2 quite steady passes today. So, as you said, she might have gone for her difficulty yesterday, and that means her scores are a little bit lower today than they might have been.
Yeah, definitely. So there's a real difficult decision to be made in advance of where you put your difficult passes. Ultimately, we're aiming for 4 difficult passes, but typically you end up with some passes harder than others. Kim obviously decided to get them done in the prelims, but meant she had less to fight for today.
It's a really tricky one as well, isn't it? Because I guess you want the guarantee that you're going to get through to the final, so you don't know whether to play it safe just to kind of get through there, or would you get through it all if you played it safe? It's hard to know.
Exactly, and I've seen so much over the years where people have put all their difficulty into the prelims, made the final, and then not had much to play with, like today. But at the same time, you've had people playing the easy passes in the prelims and then not making the final, and being really devastated because they don't get to compete in the final. And in today's competition, it's about all 4 added up. That's Kirsty there, unfortunately didn't make the final.
It's a really interesting combination of tactics, consistency, difficulty. There's a real science, this sport, isn't it?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. It's so many things to figure out in terms of the competition, pressure. You've got training itself in terms of all the things we're looking at, nutrition, physical preparation. But actually, when it comes down to competition, we've got a whole new world of dealing with nerves, dealing with other gymnasts. Do you try and make sure you guarantee a final through to various passes, and do you look at the other gymnasts to try and work out what they're going to do?
And the judge is on the phone there. That's never a good sign when the judge has to pick up the phone. Could be a technical error, could be a question mark over the score. It didn't seem like a controversial final pass.
It didn't look that controversial unless they're... so what they have to do is they have to sign off the passes. Once they're signed off, all 8, that means it's done. The competition cannot be amended. So they may be actually looking at another pass possibly, in that they need to make sure everything's signed off correctly now, because once it's been signed off, that's it. There's no comeback. So they want to make sure the right person wins. In the past, I think we've all had it as gymnasts. We've felt that it's not been fair. So.
And there we go, the score in for Kim then. And that puts her into first place. So Kim Beattie is our winner. 134.2 her overall total from the 4 passes across the weekend. And a fantastic result for her. That's a big deal, right? British champion?
Yeah, I couldn't be more happy for her. So it was so much pressure going into the final. A lot of gymnasts don't actually want to go into the final in first place because they have to go last. Feel like the pressure's on them. But she did very, very well to maintain that lead.
And it did end up pretty close at the top there. There was about half a mark between our first and second place gymnasts.
Yeah, and half a mark can be next to nothing. I mean, you get 0.9 deducted, for example, just for landing outside of the red area. So, half a mark can be next to anything. Very, very small margin there. Really happy for her. Very tight competition. She's had injuries and all sorts over the years, so big achievement.
So our winner Kim Beattie is hopefully going to head over to our correspondent down on the floor. We'll hope to catch a few words with our new British champion. But what a fantastic start to the finals this afternoon. It was packed with difficulty. A couple of spills and thrills in that final. A great way to start.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully you got an idea of what goes on in DMT in terms of the complexities of trying to decide which passes to do, seeing a different variety of skills. We saw Bryony in backs, multiple twisting, doubles, twisting at different points, and the landings.
So we have got the men's DMT final coming up next, which will be packed with even more spectacular difficulty. But if you bear with us for just a couple of moments, we'll... So here we go then. I believe that our correspondent on the floor seems to have found Kim. So let's just take a look at the final rankings from that final. In third place, taking the bronze medal from the city of Edinburgh, is Caitlin O'Brien. In second place, from Birkenhead Gymnastics Club, Bethany Williamson. But our brand new British champion for 2018 from Banchory Trampoline and DMT Club is Kim Beattie. And I believe she's down on the floor with Tim Peake.
Kim, congratulations, British champion. There's tears in your eyes. How do you feel?
Amazing. I've just
It's been such a tough year. I've battled through injury. I've lost some skills. It's just been really tough, and to like finish the season off like this it's amazing.
So that moment when you saw your name top of the rankings, what was the emotion like then?
I was just amazed. Like I just started crying. Like I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. I put in so much hard work, and I'm so proud of myself.
In terms of your actual passes in the final, how happy were you with them?
Not so happy. I had to make an adjustment in the first pass, but then it meant that I could make my second pass a little bit easier, so I just went for 2 clean passes like I suggested. I managed to do that, so yeah, I'm really chuffed with myself.
And finally, could you just sum it up? You're the best gymnast in Britain. Just what does that mean to you?
Oh, it's just the world. I'm just so proud. I just want to thank everyone who's helped me this year on my journey here.
Well, congratulations again. Well done, Kim.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic to see such a happy British champion. I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it? These guys train week in, week out, all year round for this one competition.
Yeah, definitely, and it's so much pressure. You think about all those hours that have gone into it. This is a sport that's, you don't get much attention on you very often. So to get that British title, having put those hours in, just means everything. Can't explain how much it meant to me. Only the once, but it was a very, very special time. And yeah, that's the big one, really.
And I think gymnastics, in every discipline, is one of those sports where just the moment matters. In a game of football, if you have a bad pass, you've got another 89 minutes to sort yourself out again and bring yourself back. With gymnastics and DMT, you've got that one moment to compete, and if it goes wrong, that's it, game over.
Yeah, that's it. And you end up playing the what ifs over and over again. I've never made that mistake before. Why have I just made that mistake? I just don't normally make this mistake. So when it actually comes together, it is very, very special.
And we can hear that the volume in the arena is lifting once again. We are just a few moments away from the senior men's DMT finals. Now, this is obviously a particular category that's close to your heart.
Yep.
Who should we be looking out for today?
Oh my word, there's so many people to look out for here. So we've got some really exciting people here. We've got Ryan Devine, who's the junior European champion, only 17 years old, junior European champion, here as a senior, which is a massive ask for someone that's had lost skills in the past, had all sorts of issues, but is now back stronger than ever. We've got Reese Gray. We've got such a variety of gymnasts. Reese Gray competed fantastically as a senior, went off to university, and is now back as a full-time. He's got a full-time work job as well, but he's now back training, and I'm really excited to see what he comes out with.
Quite interesting talking about Ryan Devine and him having lost some skills in the past. I think that's quite a common thing within gymnastics, kind of this idea of lost move syndrome or mental blocks. I mean, how do you work back from something like that? And these skills, they're not just difficult, but they're dangerous as well, aren't they?
They are
don't go
dangerous,
right.
yeah, definitely. I had a long chat with his coach, Simon, the amount of work they had to go through to get the skills back, because suddenly you start doubting yourself. You doubt that you can do the skill that you're planning on doing. And then what do? And I'm working with a gymnast now with the same thing. And it's very, very difficult emotionally for the gymnast to know that they're not entirely sure whether it's going to go to plan.
Very difficult indeed, and especially, you can have these kind of moments of losing where you are in the air in something like DMT. It's ultimately quite a hard landing that you could fall on.
Yeah, definitely. Very small room for error, and they're doing multiple twisting, double somersaults or triple somersaults. Hopefully we're going to see both today. I've seen them in warm-up doing that, so there's lots of big skills out here, and you cannot afford to miss a twist, miss a spotting. These skills last about 1.5 seconds, just over 1.5 seconds. So by the time you finish your 2.5 twists or your triple somersault, you've got a fraction of a second to spot the landing, prepare for the next skill, or prepare for the physical landing onto a very hard landing area, and it can hurt.
So, talking of those tremendous skills, what is your favourite thing that you're going to be looking out for today?
It's so difficult to say what favourite skill is. There's the triples, so you've got the triple on, triple half twist out, mounts, we've got the triple backs, but then for me personally I would say my favourite is the Miller. That's a triple twisting double back. So much to pack into 1.5 seconds, as I said.
Wowee, certainly a lot of difficulty to look out for there. So, to line us up for this final, why don't we take a look back at our top qualifier from yesterday's competition. So here we have the first pass from Daniel Berridge. Incredible performer.
So that's a 1.5 twisting double straight, followed by a triple twisting double back straight, full and half straight, Miller straight. Second pass, very similar, but this time 2.5 twists, followed by 2 twists. Very good landing again for Daniel Berridge. 73.1 is a massive score, and he's really going to be looking to increase that score today to stay in the lead.
So in the women's final, we mentioned that they can't repeat a pass. I assume that's the same with the men's competition.
Yep.
So it looks like Daniel's got all of his difficulty out there. Is there more he can do today?
There is, and he's one of the very few people in the world that is really good at both twisting and somersaulting. We've had world champions who really could only twist or could only somersault, whereas Daniel is really working on both sets. So there we saw the twists, very twist heavies. He did 5.5 twists over 2 skills in the prelims, and now today we're going to see somersaults, and that is quite a rare thing to see.
Wowee, so triple backs on the way by the sounds of it.
Yeah, he can get those triple backs around pretty easily now. Skill I never did. I was too scared of the triple backs. I much preferred twisting. So as I said, Daniel Berridge can really keep that together, and we'll have to see what he's doing.
Okay, so let's take a look at the lineup for this afternoon's men's final then. So just like the women's, we work in reverse order, our top qualifier going last. So kicking off this final will be Jamie Gibney from the City of Liverpool. Next up, 2 Heart of England teammates in Tim Horgan and Ollie Paradise. In fourth will be, from the City of Leeds, Harrison Green. And then from the City of Liverpool, Benjamin Atkins, followed by, from Jumpers Trampoline Club, Rhys Gray, Ryan Devine from Flight Gymnastics Academy, and our leader following the qualification round, Daniel Berridge from Heart of England. So we can see the guys now working through their 2-touch warm-up, as it's called. So would you want to explain what they go through at this point?
Yeah, so 2 touch is your opportunity to have 2 attempts at running at the double mini trampoline. So they use that really to get used to the environment and the equipment. The equipment can feel very slightly different to the equipment out the back where they've warmed up in advance. But also for me, I remember getting used to the lights. The environment can be quite different. So here's Ben preparing, so he's choosing, for example, to do just the first skill, landing on the mat so he can stop and just focus on that first skill before thinking about the second skill in competition in the second.
One of the fascinating things I find about DMT and trampolining is the timing when the gymnasts choose to do the twist. So you saw there, he almost did a double straight forwards and then just popped the twist in at the end, whereas others choose to twist early. It's quite a fascinating thing to look out for.
Yeah, so we saw a half out straight in the women's yesterday in the prelims. We also saw Bryony and back out straight earlier with the women's today. So yeah, they can twist at any phase really. I mean, obviously there's common twisting phases, but you've got Bryony and back, half out straight, a real variety, and that's where double mini is quite different than trampoline in that you will see a larger variety of skills because you've got 4 passes to get done, so that's 8 skills, and it's all about being creative, trying to find the skills that suit you to get the maximum difficulty without, whilst being consistent.
A tremendous challenge indeed, and we can see all the coaches are in there too, sort of supporting and spotting. They've got that mat that they can push in, should things go wrong, I guess.
Yes. Yep, so in warm-ups here, sometimes they get pushed in, not there on that one, but sometimes they get pushed in, and otherwise they're only used if a mistake's being made. So if a gymnast is coming off to the side or forwards, and they can really save the day because you don't want to land on the bungee. That bungee cord that's on the end of the double mini trampoline there, it can fly you away, and the goal of us coaches is to put the mat in, protect the bungee, and just remove some of that elasticity. So here's Tim, the 2012 British champion, slightly bitter now. Tim, brilliant. He beat me to the British title in 2012. He's been around a while. Great guy. That's a triple front somersault in the pike position followed by a half twist. Very few people in the world doing that skill. Incredibly difficult.
Very ambitious work.
So Tim, for example, not a twister, focusing on the somersaults. As I said, most people normally are good at twisting or good at somersaulting, and Tim is very, very good at somersaulting.
And is that something that's down to spatial awareness, that you kind of understand moving in one way better than the other?
I would say so. I think a lot of it's really down to just really how you experience it at the beginning, I would say. A lot of gymnasts you meet say, I'm very good at twisting. And you suspect if they'd actually, that's just because that's the one they got first. And then they get their confidence builds from that and builds and builds and builds. Ollie Paradise there, very good twister. He can do full-in Randys, so that's a 3.5 twisting double straight front. Don't know if we'll see it today. Rhys Grace, that's a 1.5 twisting 1.5 twisting double front, and you see his dismount there was just warming up. You see, that wasn't the dismount he'll compete later. That's just his way of mentally preparing for the dismount that we'll be doing in a second's time.
And just bonkers height on some of these skills. I guess when those guys are coming down from their dismount, I mean, what's kind of the height they're coming down from, or what's the impact when they land? I
don't know actually what the heights are, but they are in the meters. I do remember you sometimes kick out and you look at the min and you think, oh, that's quite a long way away. Is that a good idea? But no, it's great. The higher you are, obviously, the more you can fit in, the more twists you can fit in, the more time you have to see. So there's lots and lots of benefits of going higher, but unlike trampoline, there's no actual score for it, so you can go low if you really want to, but just not recommended. So that was another triple front with a half twist, triff pike from Daniel Berridge. Didn't quite get round. It's quite difficult now psychologically, knowing his warm-ups haven't gone maybe to the best, the plan. Hopefully he'll pick himself up to compete. Absolutely.
And that is the warm-ups completed. We are ready to get going with this competition. And first up is going to be Jamie Gibney from the City of Liverpool.
So one of our younger seniors here. I think this is his first British Championships as a senior. Very successful in the junior categories. Wow, there we go. Half out pike followed by Miller, so that's a triple twisting double back at the end there. Relatively simple mount, but big twists in the dismount. Double front, half twist, and then cranks the twist, has to tuck it round at the end. So it'll be interesting to see whether the judges give that as tucked or straight.
Looked like really good vision on that pass. You could see he caught the bed, you could see it, yep. Caught the landing. And I guess that's something that's really important in this game when you are flipping and twisting that much.
Definitely. You need to know where that double mini is at all times. You might not be able to see it at all times because you're twisting so fast, but you need to know where it is. And he definitely had great awareness in that pass. Hence being able to land pretty well, considering he got 3 twists and 2 somersaults into probably 1.4, 1.5 seconds.
Just remarkable spatial awareness from these gymnasts. And I guess that's something you develop over time as, a young gymnast, and you kind of just add the skills as you go. Yeah, definitely. I mean, normally we start out with no twists, obviously, and then we add on the twist over time. So, for example, at Miller, you might start out learning a double twisting double, and then you can decide where to add the extra twist at the end. Looked like he added the twist at the end. Some gymnasts had it on quite early in the skill. Here we go. I think we're ready with that first score. There we go. 34.4 sets the marker in this men's final. So the second competitor looks like he is ready to go, and that's Tim Horgan from the Heart of England. Trains not too far away. I think it's Solihull kind of way, isn't it? Heart of England, so he's close to home. Very explosive gymnast. Moved for his training, very dedicated gymnast. And a triple somersault. Oh no, he's landed on the bungee, but he's got away with it. See how they score that. He landed right on that bungee cord that's on the end of the double mini because he went a bit long in the mount, but I think the judges might give it to see. Half twist around the bungee. Execution will be low with those wide knees. I say this to the gymnasts all the time, stay focused. He lost his focus with that half twist at the end. Judges will be deducting for that. And we obviously spoke about landing in the red being, where you're aiming to go for. He skipped his way all over to the blue there. So what kind of difference would that make to a score? So that'll be a big deduction. So that'll be a 1.5 deduction, which is equivalent of 2 twists or an extra somersault in, typically. So yeah, he's going to get a big deduction for that despite the big tariff. So the score's going to go up high with the difficulty and then unfortunately lost again because of the landing outside the zone. Could be a delay here while the judges check this. There is some subjectivity in this bit, unfortunately. Has to be decided. Here we go, the score has arrived and it's 30.8, so yeah, definitely a victim of that execution score. Yeah, execution and the landing zone. Because they go so high, if you're not accurate, you're not strong through your core, your physical preparation, or whatever it is, if you don't get it exactly right, you are not in the right area. So here we go then. Up next, Ollie Paradise. Teammate from Heart of England. Fantastic gymnast, fantastic junior, now competing as a senior. Oh no, he's gone long again. Again, it's very difficult. This equipment's so small. If you land long, it's very difficult to get the dismount going up. He's gone very long there. So yeah, dropped his shoulder a bit too much there on the takeoff of that first skill.
incredible spatial awareness, one of the most talented gymnasts I've ever come across. He can add so many twists, but he's got to get up into that right space. He's got to get up into that twisting window, and he just didn't get there today.
I mean, it's quite incredible he managed to do the dismount he did based on how he came off the DMT there. Just
yeah, phenomenal. I mean, he really can just pull this sort of stuff off. Fortunately not consistent at the moment with so much talent there. If he can get this consistency together, he really is one to watch out for the future.
A very exciting young gymnast indeed. But once again, the execution of that pass is definitely going to keep his score a little bit lower than he would have liked.
Yeah, not a score he's going to remember, that one.
The boys keeping the judges busy in this first pass.
Yeah, the men, we were, in my era as well, we like to keep them on their toes. Variety of skills, variety of different types of moves. I remember some moves as well you would do, and the judges were saying, well, what was that? Why have you done that? But it was, we had to have 8 different moves, 4 forward moves typically and 4 back moves typically. So therefore, we had to find moves that were high in difficulty, but all unique.
And I guess when you have an instance like that where he came off the bed in a way that wasn't favourable, I'm assuming he didn't intend to land forward, so it's not a great way to land, is it?
What was that? That was a 1.5 twisting. So he was probably planning a 3 twisting, triple twisting double back. So he got the 1.5 done and thought, that'll do. I want to make sure I land this thing. So yeah, very unique.
It is tricky landing forwards, isn't it? It's a blind landing if you're going in that direction. It's always good to be able to see the ground before you hit it.
I'm a big fan of seeing the ground before I hit it. Yeah, I didn't do any of these blind landings. They've become a bit more popular lately. As I said, gymnasts are looking for unique ways to solve the problem of getting as much difficulty in as they can.
So here we go then. Up next, Harrison Green will be looking to break this habit of finding yourself on the end of the bed.
Another GV gymnast. We get another full half straight, full straight, very long. Oh dear. Not the length you'd be looking for, but good execution, good difficulty. But again, that'd be a big deduction for landing in the blue. So the mount was good, it didn't convert the direction up.
And was he just laying back a little bit too much as he took off then? His position on the bed looked a lot better that time.
It did look good. I think what can happen is you can anticipate the dismount. Remember, we've got the challenge of you're trying to go up, but your brain wants to get you off the double mini. No one wants to land back on the double mini. That would be a British Championships I'd choose to forget. If you don't want to land back on the double mini, so your brain tries to tell you get off the double mini, and sometimes you try and get off too much. He actually scored very high there.
34.9.
34.9. Because his execution was high and because his difficulty was high, it still added up pretty well. I've got to say, that's Kathy there. This is her 26th year marshalling at the British Championships.
Wowee.
So
that is quite the record.
Yeah, so very dedicated. She's marshalled at the Olympics and all sorts.
Phenomenal. So we've got City of Liverpool up next. It's Thomas Atkins.
He's got his middle name though. It's actually Ben Atkins.
Ben Atkins, my apologies.
I don't know why he's there.
Very formal.
Yeah, very formal.
Having a full name.
So lots of focus. There we go, you see him visualising the pass. So there we go, half out straight, triple pipe, wow. Very, very high. That's double mini trampoline, that's the sport I love. That was absolutely incredible. Clean and unique.
I love that late twist, it looks really cool.
Very, very cool. Skill I never did myself, very cool. That's what's so great about the sport, is there are so many different skills you can do. Really has found a unique pass there. And that triple back pike, a little bit tucked at the end. Hopefully they count that as piked. If he wants the high score he can. Especially if he's got triple tuck competing in the 4th pass, has to make sure they're unique. Otherwise this difficulty score won't get counted.
So we've just got 3 competitors left in this first run. It's obviously the top 3 qualifiers from yesterday. The score though there for Ben, 36.5. A very good score.
That's a good score, averaging a 71, that's not bad at all. Daniel Berridge scored a 73 yesterday, so we know what they're capable of, these men.
So here we go then, the 3rd qualifier from yesterday's competition, Rhys Gray from Jumpers Trampoline Club.
Superb talent. back on the DMT squad, back in GB DMT squad after some time off at university. Weren't sure if we'd see him back. Very happy to see him back. Drift tuck. Wow, look at the height. Incredible stuff. Triple front somersault, half twist, spotted the exit, and then a huge full pike. So there's a double twisting, double back with a brief pike.
Just looked like he was hanging in the air there, so much air time.
He is phenomenal. So there we go, 1.5 twists in, and then pike Bryony at the end. Landed outside the box. That's the one thing with Reece, he's got the skill base, he's got the strength, he's got so many positive attributes, but not landing the box does cost him that 0.9, which can add up.
Here we go, that score 36.1. A very good score indeed for his first run. So, Ryan Devine is going to be our next competitor.
So, current junior European champion. Very impressive 17-year-old to be competing amongst the seniors. Very good shot at winning as well. Absolutely incredible gymnast. Despite the hard times he's had in the past with skills, he's now back at the top of his game. Also competing in trampolining. Another triple somersault, massively high. Same pass. It's quite rare with the men to see the same passes twice. Superb. So much height again, so strong. So there we go. Good push with the toes. Sees it. Arms up narrow. 1.5 twist, half out, and a good landing. Just that little hop.
Absolutely tremendous.
Oh, I'm very excited. This is it. This is what
it's
I've
going to
been
be a
training
big score,
for.
37.2.
Oh my word. It's just beaten my PB.
So what's Daniel Berridge's answer going to be to that? Has he
Oh
got
my
something
word.
to give?
I think he does. It's consistency though. That's what we have to see. He's going to go big. He's going to have somersault. He's going to have height. Will it be in the box though? That's where the scores come from.
And having seen that pass before him, he knows now that he needs to nail this, and that's extra pressure.
Exactly. And his warm-ups didn't quite go to plan. Can he pull himself back out? A lot of focus there. So triple, half twist, triple back. Oh no. I think he's put his hands down. Unfortunately, doesn't look like he can win the British title now with that mistake. Strong push, fast somersault, but just didn't quite get the sighting at the end. So he sees it, but he's not able to keep his back tight, get round. Oh. Judges might have to dispute what happened there.
Yeah, when I saw it in real time, I thought he'd put more pressure on his hands, but from that angle, it looked...
Yeah, I think we're seeing how hard it is a job for the judges. So we get the slow motion replay, but they don't. Or maybe they do actually. But yeah, but it's very difficult to decide. 35.9, so he still scored well. So I think they gave him the pass with just a small deduction maybe for the landing and the step.
So that does put him in second place at the moment, but only 0.3 behind. So still, one last pass to go. It's anyone's game, right?
Still anyone's game if he can get himself back up though. Looks like he's lost his confidence a bit.
So we're into our second passes of this men's final, and it is Jamie Gibney from the City of Liverpool who's going to be starting things off.
So we go full and half pike, full pike, good landing. His foot might have been out of the box, but otherwise a very good pass. 1.5 twisting double front, followed by a double twisting double back there. So there we go, full up, half twist down, and then up, full. Did he compete full pike in the past before? Possibly he might get the difficulty not counted for that one there.
So that could be it.
Yes,
the judges are having a video review of that pass now, so could that be down to what you just suggested?
Yeah, so all 4 moves have to be, dismounts have to be the same, and all 4 mounts have to be the same. With the men, they do mounts and dismounts typically. And so if he's done a full pike in both, unfortunately the difficulty for the second one won't be counted, so he'll lose 3.6. So yeah, that's quite a big deduction he'll be losing there. Clive there was just checking with the judges. Very experienced judge, goes out to many international competitions.
Okay, and they seem to have sorted it out. The score is now in, And it's 35.1, so that's still pretty tidy.
Yeah, so they obviously counted it, so maybe they counted the pass before his full straight. So yeah, good score.
So
He should be happy.
Sometimes you get very slight differences between these shapes, but they obviously feel that they've seen enough. So we move on to our next competitor, Tim Horgan. Can he do better than his first effort today?
Yeah. Will we see possibly a triff pike, triple front with a half twist out in pike position? Yep, he's gone for it. I think he's gone long. And that's what the mat's for. Plus a bit of surfing at the ends. He's a great fun guy. He's focused. He puts the hours in, but at the same time doesn't take himself too seriously. He knows that he gave it his best, and I'm sure he'll keep his chin up.
Oh, what a gent. He even went and got the mat for his coach. I tell you what, it's not an easy job for a coach either, is it? Making that sort of split-second decision whether to throw the mat in or not.
Yeah, I think I'm almost as nervous as a coach as I was as a gymnast. You have to make sure you get that right. If you put that mat in incorrectly, they get a 0. That's it, they're done. And all their work, yes, you put work in as a coach, but all their work's gone out the window.
So that is Tim's championships over, unfortunately. It's a score of 0 for him. But next up, we've got Oliver Paradise.
So his teammate, same coach.
So last time he copied what the other guy did. Let's hope he doesn't do the same this time.
Yeah, not always good to copy the person from before you. Half out pike. Clean Miller. Just didn't have the somersault. Again, this is a cruel sport. What can happen is you make a mistake and it can be very difficult to get yourself back up to, firing on all cylinders.
Almost looked a little bit lost in that second somersault. It looked like he sort of had the height and rotation, but just, I don't know, couldn't quite find the landing.
He's a cool kid. I think he keeps his head very still, and he saw it, but he just saw it a bit too late. It's a global twister, twisted very smoothly throughout the skill, but it meant he didn't finish the twist in time to see the landing. That would have worked if he was higher.
What a very low score there, 23.2 for Ollie Paradise.
Yeah, so the judges deemed it not as that second skill, not as a complete skill. So a score out of 1, essentially.
So next up, Harrison Green from the City of Leeds.
Exciting GB, competed as a junior, now as a senior. A half out pike and a Miller. Wow, what a landing. What a landing. He wouldn't have seen that landing. That's just raw practice, experience and talent, that is, because he did not see that. Wow.
And I think from the look on his face, you can see that he was pretty surprised by that landing too.
Lovely clean half out pike and then wraps the twist. That's 3 twists. His head's out a little bit. That means he's kind of desperately searching for where the landing is. Didn't really see it, but he landed anyway.
And still wide-eyed as he walks back to his competitors. That's going to be a big score.
That's great to see how happy he is there.
Lots of appreciation from
Kirsty Way there. Everyone's happy. Phil Dodson,
so the score, 36.6.
Wow, that's a high score. That is a very high score. But at the end of the day, not scored on height. So even though it's a little bit lower than some of the other gymnasts, he had the difficulty and he had the execution and the landing.
So it does put him comfortably in first place at the moment, but obviously we've still got the second half of this field to come.
So Ben has somersaults and twists. Competed at majors for GB. So full and half tuck. Oh no, not quite sure what went there. The hurdle step, so as he was approached the double mini, hurdle step looks slightly wrong, maybe his run had gone slightly wrong. And then as his arms get up, his force is just not lined up. So this piece of equipment's very thin, 92 centimetres wide. There's not much room for error.
We've seen a lot of mistakes this afternoon. Is this something that's quite typical of DMT competition, or is it the pressure of the British Championships?
The pressure's high, but this equipment is not forgiving. You make that slight mistake, his shoulder could have dropped by 2 centimetres for a fraction of a second, and that's it. You don't get any, there's no way of recovering from it. There's just no way.
So here we go, Rhys Gray took those few years off, but is now well and truly back in business.
Yep, top of his game, can somersault, can twist, got that skill base. He's come back with a grown up head on his shoulders now. Wow, very clean, full and half pike. Lovely height again on the triple back. Lands in the box. This is going to be close now. That was a superb pass. Look at those straight arms. And straight arms there. Great height. Very comfortable triple tuck. And he's happy with that.
So we've got word that the judges have gone to video review again on this routine. What do you think that could be down to?
I don't actually know what that could be. The only thing I can imagine is if it looks like a repeated skill from the prelims yesterday. If you repeat a skill, as I said, it doesn't get counted for the difficulty. So that could be 3 or 4 marks. That would put him way out of the running.
Reese looks pretty happy with that, though. He's obviously fairly confident and comfortable that it was a fair pass.
Yeah, I think it would be a shock to him, it looks like, if it was to not count.
It's going to be interesting now, isn't it? So we've got him and Ryan Devine, our next gymnast up, basically fighting it out for this title. 35.3, so not the highest score we've seen.
No, not in the 36s like some of the gymnasts, but still a good score. We'll have to see how this all comes out.
So he's squeaked himself into first place at the moment, but we have this gentleman that could upset him, Ryan Devine. What's he got left for this last pass?
This is exciting. I've seen some big passes from this guy. So only 17, but already one of the top men in Britain and will challenge the world. Rudy out pipe, 1.5 twist, half in Rudy pipe. Very clean, very clean. So that's double front, 1.5 twist out, followed by a half twist, 1.5 twist out in the double back. Nice symmetry to that pass. So somersault, twist, and then again up, somersault, twist. Very clean. Good
Lovely
landing.
tidy technique, getting those arms wrapped right into the body.
Yeah, you can tell he still trampolines. Still keeps his tight execution there. As I said, double mini trampoline and looking for difficulty, which that was difficult too, but he's also got that execution.
Yeah, very classy gymnast indeed in the air.
His coach Simon there looks happy. This is going to be close.
So it looks like he has gone into the lead, just waiting for confirmation of that score.
If so, I think with Daniel Berridge's mistake, that would make him British champion. Incredible from a 17-year-old. I cannot believe how exciting this is. You know, how excited I am for him. You know, this is a guy only 2 years ago, just lost his confidence, wasn't doing the skills. Oh no, it looks like he's in second. Oh no.
The rank on the screen, I think, relates to the scores just today. Obviously, we've got the totals from yesterday too.
Of course. Oh, there we go.
It's a complicated puzzle. So our final competitor, Daniel Berridge, unfortunately had that mistake in the first run, so out of contention here, we think.
I think it's unlikely he can win, but he's got some massive skills. It'll be great to see what he can do. Come on, Daniel, pick yourself back up. Show us what you can do. So Triff Pike, triple back tucked. Wow, he got it round. Unfortunately, he's frustrated with that, but he got that triple front on, half twist out, massively high, so much somersault to get in, and then just that take off of the dismount just looked a bit awkward. Good, strong somersault there, and then didn't get his arms up, but managed to get triple back round. So he got it round, but not what he's looking for in terms of the landing area. So Daniel just waiting for his score there.
The judges for the third time in this final seem to have gone to a video review, so they'll just keep us hanging on for a few more seconds to get confirmation of our winner.
So a lot of skills are done in the tuck and pike shape, but in order to get those skills around, the knees can bend in the pike shape. That means they come across tucked. So if you've got two tuck skills that are the same, then obviously it's not going to count. So I'm guessing that's what they're checking.
Daniel, unfortunately, they're looking pretty dejected. Not the day he would have hoped for.
No, and unfortunately, I do recognise that myself. It's very difficult when it doesn't go to plan.
And there we go. His score is in. Unfortunately puts him down in 4th place overall in this British Championships, but that does mean that Ryan Devine, the 17-year-old, has just become the senior British champion.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, he is the junior European champion. This is a guy who is on an absolute path to the top, and that really says it all. There we go. Look at Ryan. So happy for him and his coach, Simon, who have gone through so much to try and get him to this stage.
Just a spectacular result, and it's interesting. We've got age group championships going on here as well. There is a younger age category that he could go in.
Yeah, definitely. There's a 17 to 21 category that he would be the youngest age in, but he's chosen to compete in seniors, which is great to see. I love it when gymnasts choose to compete in seniors to really fight it out, especially if they get a score that could challenge these seniors.
And what a fantastic decision that turns out to be as we take a look at the final rankings. In 3rd place, taking home the bronze medal from the City of Leeds Trampolining Club, Harrison Green. In 2nd place, Rhys Gray from Jumpers Trampoline Club, but our brand new 2018 British champion from Flight Gymnastics Academy, it's Ryan Devine. The gymnasts are just in front of us, and it's really nice to see them sort of celebrating together. The camaraderie between them is lovely to see.
Yeah, they're all desperate to win, but at the same time, they all get on really well, this lot.
So just as before, we'll be hoping to catch a few words with our newly crowned British champion. So what a final it's been. We had the men up there, we had the women just before. A great afternoon of DMT.
Oh, that was absolutely great. Couldn't have predicted who won.
So Ryan is just making his way over to our correspondent on the floor, Mr. Tim Peake. So in just a few moments we'll be able to hear from our brand new British champion.
Ryan, congratulations, British champion. How does that feel?
Feels amazing. Yesterday didn't go too good, but I'd done enough to get through the finals, and today I smashed it, so I'm happy.
Talk about your 2 passes today. How did they go?
Just as trained. Yesterday, as I say, didn't go to plan, didn't do what I'd done in training, but today I could went out and show what I know I can do. So.
How did you feel when you saw your name top of the leaderboard?
Over the moon. Very happy.
How did you feel coming into this? Were you expecting to win? Were you hoping to win?
I trained to win, and I always believed in myself to win. So I'm happy I went out and.
And how do you sum it up? You're the best gymnast in Britain. How does it feel?
Feels amazing. Feels so good.
Congratulations again. Thanks, Ryan.
Very much. Thank you.
So following a tremendous afternoon of DMT, we've certainly been entertained. I hope you have at home as well. We have got still tumbling and trampolining yet to go. But Pete, thank you so much for guiding us through the fantastic sport that is DMT.
No problem at all. I hope you've enjoyed it. It was unbelievably good fun, and I could never have guessed who was going to win. It was that competitive.
Absolutely. It's an entertaining final to watch, and thank you so much for guiding us through. I'll bid you farewell, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Cheers, thank you. Sure will do. Cheers.
So next up we have got our next discipline, that's going to be tumbling. So let's see if we can learn a little bit more about what that's all about.
Tumbling is explosive, fast, full tilt action. Thundering backwards down the track, turning over and over, heart pounding, legs pushing, launching high into the air. Count the somersaults, count the twists. Can they stick their landing? A tumbling pass or routine includes 8 skills. The aim is to show constant speed and power that all builds to the final explosive skill at the end. Tumbling is the 100-meter sprint of gymnastics. If it was done backwards while flipping head over heels all the way, think this is better, don't you? For qualifications, senior tumbling gymnasts must complete a straight pass and a twisting pass. If they make the finals, they can play to their strengths with 2 routines of their choice. Look out for the double somersaults on the middle of the track. These are called transitions. Gymnasts can increase their difficulty by adding them and aim for bigger scores. Execution scores will be averaged out and then added to the difficulty to find out who will come out on top.
So we are swiftly back in the arena. Hopefully that VT's given you a bit of an idea about an introduction to tumbling. And thankfully for me, I'm joined by my second expert commentator of the afternoon. It's Yasmin Taite. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's certainly going to be an exciting afternoon, and you've got a little bit of experience in tumbling. So tell us a little bit about what we're watching now.
This is one of my performances at the World Championships back in November in 2017. This was the team final. It was such a successful competition for Great Britain, and that was actually one of my best performances and got one of my best scores for it.
And someone else who was really successful at that championships unfortunately isn't here today, but here is Lucy Colbeck.
Yep, so this was Lucy competing in the individual final. She performed a double straight transition through to a full tuck. Really nicely. She scored such a great score on this, and as you can see by her face, she was really pleased and overwhelmed by this whole experience, and it was a great achievement. And
to have a British gymnast on the podium at a World Championship just shows how strong Great Britain are in this discipline. So the gymnasts are now coming into the arena. You can hear that the noise level has really raised. Obviously, British Gymnastics go to great lengths to make these championships a great spectator kind of show. We've got lights, we've got smoke, it's all really exciting. What was it like for you walking out onto the competition floor? What will these guys be thinking about now?
I mean, a lot of them will be in the zone right now, probably thinking through their routines and what they're going to be doing, but really about to enjoy the experience. It's, like you said, such a big event, and they'll be training so hard leading up to this and ready to show what they've got.
Now, unfortunately, today we've got quite a short start list on the women's senior final. Why is that?
So there's been a couple injuries leading up to the British Championships, and there's been a few gymnasts that have actually retired recently as well. So we've had a few gymnasts that have moved up through from the junior category into seniors. So we have got some new faces today, which is really good, and hopefully with the years coming through, we'll have a lot more that will join. So it's a bit small at the moment, but give it a little bit of time and we'll have a few more gymnasts joining the rest of these guys.
Absolutely. Looking at the start list, we've got 3 out of the 4 gymnasts are first-year seniors, aren't they?
Yes, they are. So 2 of these first-year of seniors are Shanice Davidson and Megan Keeley, who are actually part of the European team back in April, where they helped the team secure a gold medal in the team final alongside Rachel Davies, who has been on this team, a senior team, for a little bit longer.
So just while these guys get their final preparations underway, I think we're able to take a look back at our top qualifier from yesterday's qualification rounds.
Gymnasts, your warm-up starts now.
So we're just going to go to that in just a couple of moments. As you can hear, the arena's now gone a little bit quiet. The gymnasts will be getting their words of wisdom from their judges before they get their final warm-up preparations underway. So let's take a look at that qualification routine from yesterday.
So we have Rachel Davies from Durham City, performing a whip double straight transition through to a double straight on the end there. Really nice control. And here is her second pass. Here we'll see a twist transition through to a full inch straight on the end there. Again, very secure on the landing, great execution, and a really nice overall score from both of those routines.
So the gymnasts qualified yesterday. They had to do 2 passes, as you just alluded to, a straight pass and a twisting pass. Things change up a little bit in the final though, right?
Yes, they do. So obviously, like we just said, in the qualifiers they have to do a straight pass and twisting pass, whereas in the finals they are able to sort of mix it up a little bit. So you may see them do some straight moves and mix in some twisting moves towards the end, just to increase their difficulty basically, which is what we'll see a lot happening in the finals with the seniors, trying to improve their score on from yesterday and get into that top 3 rank.
So in terms of the best routines that we'll be seeing today, what should we be looking out for?
We'll be seeing lots of transitions, maybe 2 transitions throughout. Like I said, trying to make their routines a little bit more harder.
Fabulous. So let's check out the gymnasts who are going to be taking part in this final. As we've already mentioned, only 4 gymnasts taking part. They compete in reverse order from how they qualified yesterday. So our top qualifier will be going up last. The first gymnast in this final, though, Megan Sermon from the city of Birmingham, very close to home here at the Birmingham Arena. Coming up second will be Shanice Davison from the city of Durham. In third spot, we're going to have Megan Keeley from Milton Keynes, and our final gymnast in this final is going to be Rachel Davies, our top qualifier from Durham. So we can see the gymnasts are going through their final preparation now. It's a 2-pass final, so they get 2 opportunities to go down the track. What will they be looking to do in these last warm-up touches?
A lot of them will sort of be going through their routines to sort of just maybe warming up the first half, so we'll see a few of them doing transitions, but no actual big endings on the end, just sort of to make sure that they do anything and know what they need to work on, ready for the competition go. And usually by the first touch they know whether they need to repeat that again in their second touch or whether they can move on. As you can see there, warming up a transition, just do a single somersault on the end, knowing that they have enough room to put on a big ending.
And tumbling really is fast and furious, isn't it? Again, like I said about DMT earlier, I really don't envy the judges because they've got so much to see so quickly. For spectators at home who maybe haven't seen tumbling before, what are some easy things that they can look out for that makes a run a good run rather than a bad one?
Okay, so the main things to sort of look at is obviously you're trying to watch out for all the power that they have going down the track and the increase in speed, lots of heights on the somersault, and just the main sort of obvious things like keeping their legs straight, toes pointed, arm positioning, making sure they're straight. That obviously contributes to a really good score because obviously execution and their difficulty is put together to get their average score.
So I think this is the final warm-up pass. Our top qualifier from yesterday, just having her last go on the track.
She's looking ready to go.
Absolutely. I guess it's quite daunting coming into the second day of competition in first position. Does it add a bit of extra pressure for her, do you think?
Definitely. You know, from yesterday, their scores are actually passed over onto today. So she also wants to keep up that score. And with the feeling knowing that she's in first position, she might not want to go all out just in case she makes any mistakes, but also wants to try and maintain that top position. So has to sort of concentrate on what she's going to put out there and making sure she makes the right decisions. Again, this is the World Trials for our senior women and men, so that also adds a little bit of pressure on, wanting to get a spot on that team.
Yeah, there's definitely no holding back. And I'm just hearing that the judges aren't quite ready for this first competitor, so in a few moments we will see Megan Sermon. Yeah, sorry, we are still on warm-ups actually.
Yeah, so they have a 2-touch warm-up for the final because they will be competing 2 passes. So they're just finishing off their last touches now, and they're just taking a bit of time because there's only 4 of them.
Goodness me, everything's been so fast and furious this afternoon. I'm kind of ready to get going with the competition.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes you can miss these little things.
So yeah, as we say, coming in, you know, there's only 4 people in this final. That means, you know, all but one are going home with a medal today. I guess that adds a bit of pressure too, doesn't it? You don't want to be that one who's ending up in 4th place.
Yeah, exactly. So it is sort of like they've all got very, very similar difficulty and what sort of runs they'll be putting out. So it is going to be looking at a little bit more who performs it better, who gets those execution marks in. So it could be anyone's game today.
Certainly it's going to be an exciting final. In particular, I'm excited to see Megan Keeley. She's a new senior this year, but she got that Euro silver medal behind Lucy Colbeck. She's certainly one to look out for, isn't she?
Yes, definitely. This is her first year as a senior gymnast. She's had a very successful junior career, being 3 times world age group champion. So she's got that behind her and obviously wants to continue her success now as a senior gymnast. So she'll be going all out for sure, and she's not too far behind in that silver medal position.
Oh, I mean, yesterday's qualification scores, it was ridiculously close. She tied on one pass, I think, and was only 0.1 behind on another. I mean, 0.1's, what is that, a step?
That's like a step, yeah. And I mean, these days as well, they've been a little bit harsher on landings with the judges, so keeping your chest up, your arm positioning that I spoke about earlier. So that could even be, for example, just keeping your arms slightly straight. So really everyone's just going to be trying to do the best they possibly can today.
It's definitely going to be an exciting final, and I, for one, cannot call it. It's going to be too close to call. So I think they have now had their second warm-up, haven't they? We're all
yes,
we're all
they
done.
have. We're
all
ready to
wrapped up
go
for
now.
This warm-up. So we shall try once again. Hopefully the judges are ready.
2 from Jump UK is Lucy Moores.
So there we go, she's had the go-ahead from the officials down at the bottom of the track. Our first competitor is going to be Megan Sermon from the City of Birmingham.
From City of Birmingham Gym Club is Megan Sermon.
So here you see a double straight transition, slight buckle in the legs there on the end, and just because of that, she wasn't able to land that double tuck on the end. She lost the momentum from that whip coming out of the transition. It is so hard to master, and if you don't come out quite correctly, it can have a knock-on effect on the rest of your whips. So you'll see here just her legs gave away a little bit, and then had to fight really hard to recover that to get something on the end, and just slightly opened out a little bit too much in that double tuck towards the end.
That was a really tough first pass, wasn't it? I guess it's the gymnasts get quite a big deduction for not landing on the yellow mat at the end as well, don't they? So was she kind of tying up there, trying to make the double back long to get to the mat, but also trying to figure out how to get around?
Yes, trying to stretch it to make sure she made it to the mat. And also, if you land it, but your feet touch first, then you get the skill counted. But if your knees hit the mat first, and it's counted as more of a crash, and a transition won't get counted if you do the double somersault in the middle and don't get it through to a double somersault on the end, then it just won't get counted for the transition bonus.
So our second competitor then is Shanice Davidson. She comes from Durham City Gymnastics Club and will be hoping for a more successful first run.
On DMT there, that was from City of Liverpool, James Armstrong. Next up on DMT from City of Liverpool as well is
So going for the whip flick double straight this time. Very nice rhythm of whips out there. Just a slight big step on landing, so might lose a few marks on that. But other than that, really nice control through the transition. Nice tight legs locked in that double straight. Lifting into a nice high double pike. Slight bend of the knee at the end of the somersault, but not too noticeable when you're going down at such fast speeds.
Absolutely, I feel very fortunate that we have the option to watch this in slow-mo. For the judges, of course, they've got to watch it all in real time.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder for them.
So the next gymnast then, ready to go, is Megan Keeley, that exciting first-year senior that we mentioned earlier from Milton Keynes.
next up on tumbling, representing Milton Keynes Gym, it's Megan Keeley.
She looks very focused there at the end of the track, ready to go.
Next up on panel 2 is Olivia Sowerby.
Again, another transition here. Slight lift of the shoulders, but great recovery to get that double somersault on the end. You can certainly see that the pressure is on a little bit.
Yeah, she did tremendously well to keep that going. It looked like she'd really lost it after the transition, but...
Yeah, she came out very fast here and then lifted her shoulders, and then as you can see, just a little bit up and down there on the whips, and the judges will notice that, so will deduct for lack of control.
Do you think double pike would have been her intended dismount there, or maybe something harder?
Probably not. She might have been going for something harder, but what a lot of these gymnasts will have is the experience to change a skill on the end depending on how the whips go. So they would have trained multiple backup runs just in case, because the main thing is getting that routine to the end.
So, an opportunity then for Rachel Davies.
Definitely, and this might ease the pressure a little bit, that some of them have not been able to complete the routines that they were maybe hoping for.
From Durham City Gymnastics Club, Rachel Davies.
But also difficult when gymnasts ahead of you have made mistakes. It can put an element of doubt in your mind.
It can work both ways, so we'll see what she manages to pull out of the bag. Very good whips out there, and a full and straight on the end. Solid landing. and she looks very happy with that, and so she should be.
That is a tremendous response to the runs that came before her. Look cool as a cucumber, popped it out.
Like I said, Rachel's been on the senior team for a while now, so does know how to cope in these situations and has been put many times in team finals and maybe had the last position where you do have to deal with a lot of pressure. So she knows what she's doing.
Looks like she came off the line a little bit in the middle of that pass, but brought it back really well.
Yeah, so slight deviation away from the line, but like you said, she came back to it and managed to fight through and put a really nice filling straight on the end. When she came out of that double straight, you could see whips were just flowing out, so wouldn't have much of an effect on what she managed to put on the end.
Beautifully done. 34.7 the score for that pass, which puts her comfortably in the lead. She's extended that lead from yesterday in that first pass alone, so now she's just got to keep cool and keep it for this final pass. So we're back to our second runs then for our senior women's tumblers, and it's Megan Sermon up first from the city of Birmingham.
So she's going for the clear whip run into a fill-in straight. Some gymnasts will go for a clear whip run, as it's a little bit harder to take off marks on that because obviously they've been doing it for a lot of time now. They've got experience and keep a nice control. And when you have nice clean whips that are building up in speed, got a good rhythm, and then they don't take as much off on execution there. So should get quite a nice mark for that.
Does it give the gymnast a little bit more flexibility to put something more difficult at the end as well when you've got an easier run in?
Yes, because you're able to build up speed along the way, so can sort of decide by the end of it how much you want to put into it, how much speed and power, and what sort of ending skill you're going for.
So 31.3 the score there for Megan Sermon. Pops it up into first place for the moment, but I'm sure there'll be gymnasts who will hope to surpass that in the moments to come. Shanice Davidson will be the next competitor.
So we may be expecting another transition here.
Very interesting to see the gymnasts sort of pre-habits as they go.
Yeah, they all have their own little rituals. Like mine used to be pulling my hair constantly. So she's gone for the whip entry this time into the double straight. And another double pike on the end. So same sort of routine as last time, but switched up the entries into each double somersault on the end. So here you see a whip into the double straight instead of a flick like she did last time. And then a flick into the double pike instead of a whip.
So you're allowed to repeat elements as long as
you have a different entry.
Is a little bit different.
Yes. She'll be really pleased with that, and this has been a really good first British Championships for her as a senior gymnast.
Yeah, she should be happy with that. She seemed very confident and comfortable. 33.6, her reward for that score. And that pops her up into first place for the moment, but the final two competitors to go. And what impact can Megan Keeley have on this penultimate run of the British Championship final?
Again, Megan has been on a world stage before, so she knows how to deal with pressure, and sometimes she does a lot better under the pressure, so she might go all out on the end right now or try and keep it safe just to secure that medal. So flick double straight. As you can see, whips have come out a lot better that time, and into a back and full puck on the end. Really good landing, and should receive a much better score for that one compared to her last go. Lots of height there on that double straight, giving her enough room to decide how much she needs to work on that first whip coming out.
So I'm sure she'll be satisfied with that final pass, but maybe still looks a little bit frustrated that the first one didn't quite go to plan.
Yeah, see, Megan has some really big ending skills that she can put out, but it's what happens on the day, and it's really hard to control, you know, with all the nerves and everything that takes place. Sometimes mistakes can happen, but it's what makes you the better gymnast is how you deal with these little errors and correct them.
Absolutely, and I can imagine actually that's something that the British selectors looking ahead to the World Championships actually look for, because you know you need someone that's mentally strong as well as physically able to deliver the routine.
Definitely, it shows that you're a really strong competitor and know what you need to do in these situations.
So 34.4 for that run, and that does put her into first place at the moment. So the only person that can change the course of this championships is Rachel Davies.
Yes, we will see what she's going to do now.
Gymnastics Club, Rachel Davies.
And a whip flick double straight this time. Into the double pike. Great pass there from Rachel Davies. And it's safe to say this has been a really successful competition for her this weekend.
Doesn't look super happy about it though. What do you think?
Oh, Rachel's really hard at giving away reactions. She probably is really pleased with that, but we've always said it to her. She always looks so grumpy at the end of it, like she wants to cry. We're like, Rachel, come on, you've just done amazing. But yeah, she will be happy with that, for sure. And we might get more of a reaction out of her soon.
Quite possible. When she sees that score go up, I expect she'll be a happy lady. And here we go. I think that score is in. 34.3 pops her up overall into first place when we combine all those scores together. 136.4 her total. And indeed, our British champion for 2018 is Rachel Davies.
So we'll be seeing newly crowned British champion.
So she's got to be delighted with that. Coming in from yesterday's qualification round as the leader, she's managed to maintain her rank. And let's take a look at the final scores for our women's finalists. So in fourth place, unfortunately missing out on that medal today, Megan Sermon from the city of Birmingham. In third place, taking home the bronze medal, Sinead Davidson from Durham City. In the silver medal position, our new exciting senior Megan Keeley from Milton Keynes. And in first place, the 2018 British champion to confirm once again is Rachel Davies from Durham Gymnastics Club. So she might have looked a bit grumpy there, but she's got to be happy with that, right? Senior British champion.
Oh, of course. And it's really great for her, as actually she was British champion in the senior category back in 2016. So she's come back 2 years later and managed to retain her title.
I can imagine that a British Championships is always a really special, competition to win. For your name to be going down in the history books, it's, something you can't buy. It's something you have to work so hard for. It's a phenomenal achievement.
Yeah, it's definitely a big event for us. Obviously, we don't do as many competitions throughout the year, so we have the qualifiers for British Championships and then the British Championships, and then after that working towards the Worlds potentially at the end of the year. So it is definitely, like you said, a great achievement to work all this time and all these training sessions and hours and be able to take a medal away.
And I think our correspondent down on the floor, Tim, has managed to collar Rachel. So in a couple of moments we'll be able to see if she is happy about that British Championship.
Rachel, congratulations, British champion. How does it feel?
It feels incredible. I can't believe it's real. I think I'm dreaming. I can't believe it, to be honest. It was a tough competition out there today, but managed to get it. I'm really proud.
And you weren't even sure that you'd won. Tell us those reactions at the end.
I saw on the big screen it came ranked second, and I was actually gutted because I made my tumble a bit easier to play it safe and try to do it, and I thought that it hadn't paid off. And then everyone came over, so yeah.
What does it mean to you to be champion of Britain?
It means so much. I haven't had the easiest year. I've had a couple of mental blocks and stuff. I've been training really hard over the summer, so I'm really glad that I've come here today and it's paid off.
Well, congratulations again, fantastic performance.
So much.
It's Ethan Winter.
Fantastic to see Rachel's reaction there. Obviously very, delighted with that performance today.
Yes, definitely. And as you can see, I told you, eventually when she gets out there and it all sort of sinks in, we'll definitely get a reaction out of her, and she looks certainly happy with her performance.
Well, we've got lots more action to come this afternoon. We've got the men's tumbling finals up next. But of course, British Gymnastics is a fantastic governing body, and actually this year they are celebrating 130 years of being established. So let's take a look at the history of British Gymnastics. tremendous to see the history of this sport, and, you know, trampolining and managed to make it into the Olympics back in 2000. Unfortunately, we'd love to see tumbling in the Olympics. Is that something that you aspire to see in your lifetime?
Oh yes, definitely. And do you know what? It's really great to see that over the years, tumbling is achieving a lot more on the world stage. We're getting more medals, becoming more as a recognisable country at these competitions, and like almost a country to be reckoned with. So hopefully, you know, one day it will make it into the Olympics and we can really showcase what an amazing discipline it is.
It certainly seems like a sport that's worthy of it. It's got all the great characteristics, it's got the drama, the excitement, and just, you know, the physicality that's required for this sport is tremendous.
Yes, it's so fast and so powerful, you know. It reminds me a little bit of like the athletics with the 100-metre sprint. It's really exciting to watch, and with all these big skills, it's definitely a crowd pleaser.
These gymnasts definitely have to be, you know, really physically strong as well as spatially aware to develop these skills. In terms of training, how much kind of, you know, conditioning and physical preparation do these guys do versus, you know, just throwing the flips and tricks?
So a lot of conditioning and like basic work will go into this, just learning to take the force of the impacts for landings, lots of leg work. As you can see, like predominantly it's leg strength that we use down the track, so you'll do lots of plyo work and just in general strength work to build that up.
Well, we can see that the senior male gymnasts have made their way into the arena. They'll be taking to the track in just a few moments' time. Some familiar face in there. Kristof Willerton, who's obviously been a bit of an internet sensation with some of his viral tumbling videos in the past.
Oh yes, the people's champ.
But some really exciting prospects in this final. The likes of Elliott Browne, Jaden Paddock. They've got some really big skills, haven't they?
Yeah, so Jaden Paddock, this is actually his first year as a senior. He's actually come straight up from the 15 to 16 age group into this category. So it's a really big step for him, but he's definitely out there showing the big tricks just like the others and keeping up with the rest of the senior men. And Elliott Browne and Kristof Willerton, they were part of the European team and went to the Worlds back in 2017. Elliott Browne was lucky enough to receive the bronze medal individually, which was a really successful competition for him.
And is this competition going to be as tight as the women's potentially? Is it going to be close at the top?
I think it could be. We have two obviously seniors, Elliott Browne and Kristof Willerton, who have a lot of experience and have been competing for the seniors now for a few years, so know exactly what they're doing, and it's going to be a little bit of a fight between them. But there's also some other seniors coming up and they've got some big routines to show as well, so they're also going to give them a little bit of a run for their money as well.
So whilst these guys are getting warmed up, you can see them bouncing away on the track already. Let's take a look back at a top qualifier from yesterday's competition.
So this is Elliott Browne from Wakefield Gym Club. Round off double straight into another double straight transition and a triple pike there on the end. Obviously you can see this is a little bit different to what you may have witnessed from the senior women. You have the two transitions in there. So full straight transition through to a full in triple pike, and this is such a big and difficult skill there to complete.
76.4, just a huge score there for Elliott on day one.
Yeah, it's massive, and the routines he was putting out there were also very big routines and sort of the similar routines that you'll see at the World Championships.
So just like the women though, they've got to show something different. The scores will be added up from yesterday. It's going to be interesting to see what these guys put out there.
Yes, so like I said, they can change up their routines a little bit now and not focus so much on keeping it just as a straight pass and a twisting pass. We'll see a combination of both. So a lot of them will be going for maybe harder endings on the end and keeping the transitions in the middle pretty much the same.
No, just spotted down on the floor there, Damien Walters. Some people might have seen him in a few movies. There's a good line from going from being a tumbler into being a stuntman, right?
Oh yeah, so there's obviously a few ways to get into these other industries. So really lucky for Damien that he's managed to do that. And it's a really good thing for the younger ones, knowing that there's more to just doing competitions. You can get out there and do other things. Another thing that a lot of the gymnasts will go on to do is maybe Cirque du Soleil as well.
So here we go then, the start list for this tumbling final. Just like the previous finals, it works in reverse order. So our top qualifier will be up last. So kicking up the final will be Jerome Foster from Chequers Gymnastics Club, followed by Andreas Adams from Aberystwyth. The third competitor will be William Breslin from Milton Keynes, then Dominic Monash from Pinewood, Jaden Paddock from City of Birmingham, and then the last two wrapping up this final are Kristof Willerton and Elliott Browne. So if you had to say one skill to look out for in this final, what would it be?
Definitely the triple back somersaults. We're going to be seeing a few of those. So obviously what that is the 3 somersaults on the end as their ending skill.
And I'm told that Jaden has a particular knack for sticking those.
Oh yeah, he's always good at all these competitions at getting in those stoys. A lot of people in training will have like little games of stoy, just practicing doing any skills and trying to get those stoys in. So we make it into a game so it becomes a little bit more familiar, that when we come to competitions you're more likely to get in those landings.
And I mean, Jaden has had an exceptional year already. He won European gold this year as a junior, but has now obviously taken a step up to the senior ranks.
Yes, so back at the World Championships, the age group ones, he had a little bit of messed up one of his routines, unfortunately, but then brought it back so well in his second pass. And so he really wanted to go out to Europeans and sort of make a point to everyone that he's still here and what he can really do. And he's certainly done that, taken away the gold medal. So now again, his next step is to keep pushing himself further and join up with the rest of the senior men.
And it's interesting that within European competition, he competed as a junior earlier this year, but for the Worlds, the age category is slightly different. So now he's a senior for Worlds.
Yes, so we have a category now called 17 to 21, which is still part of the age group competitions. So you have the choice of whether you go from 15 to 16 into this age group, or if you're ready and you're able to do the passes, going up into seniors straight away.
So that obviously says a tremendous, talent that he is, being able to compete in those senior ranks a little bit earlier. Does it make him an exciting prospect for the future of British gymnastics as well?
Yes, definitely, and it's quite good getting in early as well, because he's going to gain all this experience, and you know what, he's competing alongside a lot of his role models and inspirations as well, so that must be really exciting for him to be able to compete alongside them.
Absolutely. So our top qualifier from yesterday, Elliott Browne, was in bronze medal position at last year's British Championship. So do you think he'll be excited at the prospect of moving up a couple of notches this time?
Oh yes, definitely. Elliott Browne is such a hard worker in training. You know what, he trains so much and he's worked really hard for this. And over the years, he's improved constantly. So really deserves this opportunity to try and take away that crown. I mean, they all do. But, you know, he must be really thrilled with this.
I think we can see him going through his last warm-up now.
And there's one of those triple somersaults I said to look out for.
Just incredible height. How do they get that high off the track? It's remarkable.
I know. Does help that the track's quite bouncy as well. Gives us a little bit of help.
And the track did change a couple of years ago, didn't it? The kind of rods that are in there.
Yeah, so they've made the tracks a little bit bouncier now and a bit faster to work a lot better with us older ones. To begin with, the little gymnasts found it quite difficult because it's quite hard surfaces for them to get used to. But now across most clubs, if they're doing tumbling, they'll try and get in these tracks into their club so we can sort of work on it a little bit more. So when we come to these competitions, we know what we're working with and how to use them.
So I think we are ready for our first competitor. It's going to be Jerome Foster from Chequers Gymnastics Club.
Starting off the tumbling elite level senior men.
And he's kind of a veteran of this senior competition, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's been doing it for quite a while now.
Hopefully be very comfortable in this final.
It's going in for the whip flick double straight. Into a double tuck. Obviously landing back on the track there will affect his score. So lose a few marks there on the landing. Great height going into the double straight there. Just didn't quite push his feet through going into that whip out and then lost his shoulders. And like I said, when the transition goes wrong, it can be really hard to recover.
Absolutely. These guys obviously plan out the runs, so they're going to take off in exactly the right place to, land on the landing area. And when it goes wrong, it must be so hard to adjust.
Yes, you kind of react quite quickly to it all. So whether you need to stretch a whip, maybe make your ending skill a little bit longer, or just be prepared to land on the track and sort of take the impact so it doesn't bounce you back too much further.
So the second competitor in this final is going to be Andreas Adams from Aberystwyth. These first few guys have got slightly lower difficulty than the final gymnast we'll see. So I guess for these guys, it's really all about the execution.
Yeah, it will be. And a few of these are sort of new to the senior events as well. Another double straight transition there. Through to a full tuck on the end. Nice locked legs in the double straight. Good control on the whips. Building up that speed to lift into the full on the end.
Nicely done. He looks happy with that performance. Look. And we've got the score there, 32.4. A solid first pass. He'll be hoping to cap that off with his final run in just a few minutes' time. So next up, you can see the boys just popping a bit of chalk on their hands there. What does that help with?
It helps with the guys that are going for triple tucks to grip hold of their legs, because you know when you're going down the track at fast speeds, you can sometimes slip and miss your legs, so the chalk helps them to have a bit more grip. And also the carpet on the track can be quite soft, so going into the round off, sometimes with the nerves, your hands could get a little bit sweaty and you can go for a bit of a slip down the track.
So here we go with William Breslin, hoping he doesn't slip.
And here he's upgraded one of his routines. He's gone for a full straight transition this time, which is quite a big skill to put in the middle, and put a Miller on the end. So a full is 2 twists in a double somersault. And going into the Miller here, which is 3 twists in a double somersault. So a very impressive and difficult skill to do.
Absolutely. If you just stand on your living room floor and sort of spin around 3 times as fast as you can, that makes you pretty dizzy, never mind having 2 somersaults at the same time.
Yeah.
I can see people up and down the nation just standing up spinning in their living room now. Could be quite a fun sight. So nice to see the coaches and gymnasts from the other clubs congratulating the gymnasts as they return down to the holding area.
Yeah, a lot of the coaches taking in the scores there, maybe making decisions whether they need to change the second runs or seeing where they are with their scores compared to everyone else.
You can see the judges busy at work there. They've obviously got to figure out the difficulty in the execution for these passes. There we go, the score for William Breslin at 35.2. So next up we have got Dominic Menache from Pinewood, someone that you must know quite well.
Yes, one of my teammates. Double straight transition and going for the triple tuck there on the end. Travelled a little bit long in that triple tuck, but great step on the landing there. Only 1 step, so won't lose too many marks for that. Dom has got such a great jump, so you can see in his double straight, he lifts up and gets so much height, has enough air time to decide what he needs to do with his whips. And so high in that triple tuck, it kind of goes off our screen as well.
Absolutely huge work there. And here we go, the score in for him. Huge pass, 35.3 his score.
He'll be really pleased with that.
So we come down to the last 3 competitors in this final, putting down their first runs. First up, it's going to be Jaden Paddock from the city of Birmingham.
Again, another tumbler with some really big skills to put out on the track. Definitely one to be watching out for.
And on panel 2 from Phoenix High Flyers, Georgia Elliott.
Double straight transition, very clean whips there, building up into the triple tuck. Great landing there. Quite similar to Dominic's pass previously. He had a little bit more control going into the triple tuck, so with distance-wise it wasn't as long. So their scores might be quite tight here.
Looked like he adjusted the shape of his a flick on the final element, really close to his shoulders and just popped up off the ground.
It helps improve the snap down and going right up into those somersaults.
And you can see from the reaction he's happy with that, 36.2 his score. So he pops up into first place at the moment, but next up, Kristof Willerton will surely have an answer to that. So mentioned that Kristof has gone viral before with some of his tumbling videos when he did a triple straight back, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. He loves playing around with these new skills. So here we've got back in full straight, into a double straight, and a Miller on the end. Lots of difficulty packed in that routine. Kristof is such a stylish gymnast. He's really known for it. As you can see here, his legs are locked together. He's got such nice lines and form going down the track. Doesn't come away from that line and wraps up into the Miller.
Just impeccable form, really. Those legs are pasted together the whole way through that pass. Is that something that, you know, can come naturally to you? Is it something that everyone has to work at, getting that level of form and execution?
It's definitely something that you have to work at, and it also depends on, you know, how much your coach speaks to you about this and trying to correct it.
So 37.9 pops him up into first place. A big total. He's got a couple of marks advantage over Jaden Paddock at this point. But the final competitor in this first pass is going to be Elliott Browne from Wakefield. Wakefield's a club that obviously have tremendous pedigree in producing elite tumblers.
Yes, and definitely the senior gymnasts. They've had some many great seniors over the past years. And another one going for the 2 transitions. Lifting up into that triple pike. Slight misstep on the landing there, but nothing too big.
So in terms of difficulty, how does something like that with multiple double straights and the triple pike on the end compare to what we just saw from Kristof, which obviously had a lot more twisting involved?
So the Miller, which we saw, all the twists and the triples, are quite similar in difficulty. There's only a couple of marks between them. So it is going to be who performs them the best and can get that execution up.
So that score in 38.3, that's a huge score. So we come back to our first competitor. It's time for the second runs of this senior men's final. So we're back to Jerome Foster from Chequers. And he's going to be looking to improve his distance on this pass, isn't he? See if he can get himself all the way to the landing.
Yeah, definitely. The main thing that happens is when you sort of mess up your first run a little bit, you always want to go out there and try and improve on your second run, just to sort of make yourself feel a little bit better and that you've, you know, achieved something good out of the whole championships. This time gone for a whip into the transition and just lost the whip there.
Oh, such a shame for him. Not a fun way to end his championship.
No, not at all, but these things do happen, and it's how you bounce back from them, and he'll learn from these mistakes. Went for the whip into the double straight. There's slight bend on his legs, so he would have lost a few marks for not keeping them straight, and just tried to build the momentum, but just went a little bit too fast and just lost it on the end. But, you know, he's still smiling, and that's the main thing, taking in all the experience.
Yeah, it's a fantastic day just to sort of come and compete. All of these guys have to work tremendously hard even to qualify for this championship. So, you know, it's a great privilege even to say you've taken part in the final. So the judges are busily working away there to produce this score. Here we go. So the score for Jerome is 26.1.
So a slightly lower score there, just as he didn't finish his pass.
So next up from Aberystwyth, we have Andreas Adams.
This time gone for a full inch straight in the middle. To a double pike. Oh. Held on to that pike position a little bit too long, so he wasn't quite ready for the landing when it came. Nice full inch straight there, keeping nice and square. And as you see here, just kept hold of his legs a little bit too long.
such a difficult thing to judge in the air, and I'm sure it comes through practice, but you must be sort of, you know, pulling really hard to make sure you get round, and it's such a fine line whether you sort of land on your feet or go that little bit too far.
Yeah, and adding adrenaline and nerves into the mix, sometimes you can put in a little bit more than you actually expected to.
So next up, we've got William Breslin from Milton Keynes. We'll be hoping to make the most of his last pass.
Round off double straight and then into another double straight and a full puck there on the end. One of the whips there went quite low, but he done a really good job to keep pushing through and finish that off to the end.
And I guess that's down to experience, isn't it? I thought he was baking then.
Yeah,
gone.
But again, this is something that they will go through a lot in practice at home and know how to deal with these situations, as you can see here. And all that conditioning helps you to put on, use your muscles and work into a big skill. William Breslin actually has been in the seniors for, well, not too long now, quite a newcomer to it, but over the years has really been improving and upping his game. So is going to be one to look out for in the future for sure.
And the scoring for him now, 34.1, a nice solid score to finish out his championships. So next up, we've got Dominic Menache, your teammate from Pinewood. What's he going to deliver in this final run?
So this time, he may be going for a twisting transition, either full and straight or full straight in the middle. May have had a chat with the coach and maybe changed it. And he's going for the full transition. And into the Miller on the end. This is actually a new routine for Dom, so being able to put it out for the first time in competition, as you can see, he's really pleased with himself.
Absolutely delighted. And I can only imagine that, you know, when you go for one of those new skills, the adrenaline must be pumping.
Yeah. Here, full straight, wrapping in. So much air time to go into those whips. And then finishing off with the Miller there. Good step on landing. Always known for his dance moves in training.
Looks like a fun character to have in the gym to train alongside.
Oh, he's great. He is so motivational for all of us. So when we're having a down day, he is there to cheer us all up.
So here we go, final three. Jaden Paddock's going to be first up from the city of Birmingham. So we saw that tremendous triple back on his first pass today. Does that mean we're going to see a twister this time?
We may potentially see a twist on the end. Thing is, these lot have so many different skills, you actually never know until they start going down the track. So this time he's gone for a full straight transition as well. And ending with a Miller, and look at that landing.
Oh.
The landings we were talking about.
Now that was a stoy. Oh,
so the great thing about stoys is that you obviously don't lose any marks on your landings there. But coming out of that transition, he did lift it up a little bit, but recovered it so quickly that it wasn't too noticeable and still able to work the Miller on the end.
Well, the judges were able to calculate that score quickly, not too much to take away at all. And it's 37.4. He really has laid down the gauntlet for the final two gymnasts. So, what's Kristof's response going to be to that one? He's known for his difficulty. I'm sure he's got something left in his toolbox.
Yes, he definitely will. And a double straight transition into a back and full, into the triple tuck. So this time he's reversed it around a little bit. So his last pass, you would have seen the back and full straight at the beginning, then into a double straight transition. But he switched it round this time to have a different entry, so he gets it counted.
And he wrapped in that triple back so quickly at the end.
Yeah, so Kristof goes a little bit more based on rotation than he does height, which is a really great technique. Obviously, he can still jump super high, but compared to maybe some of the other competitors, he goes purely based on rotation, which is sometimes what you need.
And the score in there then for Kristof, 38.1. That's one of the highest scores that we've seen today. A tremendous result for him. Pops him into first place at the moment with just one gymnast to go. So Elliott Browne. The pressure's on, he's got to deliver.
He's got his game face on. Very focused for this. Into the full transition. Lifting into the full in triple pike. Great landing. I actually think he performed this routine a lot better than he did yesterday. Yesterday he stepped forward and was a little bit short on landing for that full in triple pike, but no problems today.
So all he needs is something in the 35 kind of region to take the lead. Do you think he's done enough?
Yes, he will get a great score for this. Again, another one of those gymnasts that can jump very high, and he is so stylish as well, so that goes in his favour.
So the score is in, and we do have a winner to our British Championships. Elliott Browne is the champion, 39.1. That is just a huge score.
It really is.
Gives him a total of 153.8. So actually in the end he was about, well, almost 5 marks clear of the second place. Just a huge margin there.
Yeah, and when you hit these things and go out with these big skills, you can sort of open up to being so far ahead. But also when you're going for these big tricks, you're under a lot of pressure to hit it right.
So yeah, a tremendous performance. You could see before his runs he was concentrating, he was in the zone, but now it looks like he's relieved.
Yeah, Elliott used to get so nervous in competitions, but now over the years, and he's got a lot more experience, he's learned to deal with them a lot better and put them to good use down the track and use them to his favour.
And he definitely did that today as we get confirmation of our final placings. In third place, taking the bronze medal, Jaden Paddock from the city of Birmingham. In second place from Andover, Kristof Willerton. But our 2018 British tumbling champion from Wakefield Gymnastics Club is Elliott Browne. What a tremendous couple of finals there. The women, the men, they delivered some fantastic performances.
Yeah, this has been a really exciting final to watch, and it's been really good to be able to sit up here and actually spectate and watch it and get it from a different perspective.
I think it's going to be an exciting World Championships as well, isn't it, for Great Britain?
I think it definitely could be. So this year, like I said before, it's going to be an individual event. And like they've shown here, that they can go out there and get these huge scores, and they're definitely contenders to trying to get those medals.
OK, so I think we're ready to hear from Elliott Browne.
Elliott, what a performance. British champion, how does it feel?
It feels amazing. It's just happened, but I can't believe it. All the training's paid off, and I'm just so happy with how it's come out.
That second pass in particular, talk us through that, because that was huge.
I've actually been training that routine for quite a while now, and competitively I haven't actually hit it properly yet, and this was the first comp where I did it properly in the British. So
what are those skills? Because there was a lot of height at the end then.
So I did a round off flick, full straight transition to a full in triple pike somersault. So yeah.
Going into the World Championships coming up, you must be delighted with your form.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, just got to keep it up, get back, recover, and get ready for the next training session.
And overall, being British champion, what does it mean to you?
It means a lot, actually. Yeah, that's my first British senior title, so yeah, I'm buzzing.
Congratulations, Elliott. Great job.
So it has been an action-packed afternoon of tumbling. We have still got the trampoline to go, but Yasmin, thank you so much for helping to guide us through the tumbling finals.
Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed this experience and being able to sit up here and watch everyone. It's been a fantastic final.
Yeah, you've been a great help to us. You've talked us through it all, so thank you so much, and I hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
So, as I say, we have still got our trampolining finals still to come. We've got the senior men and the senior women. So, ahead of those finals, let's take a look at what trampolining is all about.
And here we are, Peter Cracknell, his second pass.
Peter with a fully...
Benjamin Watts. And our British champion with a score of 160.875 is Corey Watts.
So ahead of the finals that we have still got to come, our trampolining finals with our senior men and our senior women. Here's a video to let you know what trampolining is all about.
Trampolining is spectacular and exhilarating, with gymnasts twisting and somersaulting up to 10 metres in the air. That's higher than 2 double-decker buses stacked on top of each other. In trampolining, there are compulsory routines and voluntary routines. A compulsory routine has required elements that all gymnasts must fulfill. A voluntary routine is made from a gymnast's most difficult skills and highest difficulty elements. The key to a good score in both types of routines is clean execution and height. Trampoline gymnasts are scored on 4 things: execution, difficulty, horizontal displacement, and time of flight. Execution is how well the routine is performed. Difficulty is based on the complexity of the elements in the routine. Horizontal displacement is how close a gymnast stays to the middle of the trampoline. Moving outside of the central box loses them points from their score. Time of flight is the number of seconds a gymnast is in the air. The higher the jumps, the bigger the score. Add the execution, difficulty, horizontal displacement and time of flight together and we get the final score. So, who will take the title?
So welcome back to the arena. I am very pleased to say that I'm joined by my third expert commentator for the afternoon. I've got Steve Walsh with me.
Hello, lovely to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. And you're going to be guiding us through trampoline. Now I hear you're pretty handy on a trampoline, or certainly have been in the
used
past.
Used to be, yeah. Certainly not anymore. That was a good 5 years ago or so, but yeah.
So here we go, actually. We've got the opportunity to take a look at one of your past performances. If you'd like to talk us through it a little bit, or where you were.
A while ago, yeah. I mean, and the first thing I need to say is these were fantastically less powerful trampolines than we're going to see today, so I'm not sure it was the greatest performance in the world. This was back in 2009, where this event was the qualifying event for the World Championships that year, and it can make you a little bit more tense maybe, and that was certainly a very tense performance and wasn't the greatest thing, but I came second that day, so second at the British Championships, pretty good, and qualified for the World, so everyone was happy.
Well, certainly a tremendous record, and interestingly you mentioned how much the equipment has changed. What impact has that had on the sport, and just how much bouncier are these things?
Yeah, huge. I mean, so this is back in 2010. They changed the size of the webbing, which sounds very geeky, but it made a huge difference on the power that the trampoline has. Therefore, the height that you can generate, and that actually made a lot more difficulty come into routines. So where before only the world's top performers were doing 3 triple somersaults at the time, all of a sudden a lot of people were able to do that because they were, they didn't have to get stronger, they just had the natural power. And since then, difficulty has increased. We saw Luke Strong, Tetsuya Satomura in the men's yesterday looking at 4 or 5 triple somersaults in their routines. That has continued throughout the world, so people have had to up their game, get a lot better at spinning and twisting, but it's made such a fantastic spectacle, so yeah, looking really good.
Well, it's certainly an exciting one to watch. For me, who doesn't watch as much trampolining as maybe other gymnastics disciplines, it's hard to keep up with what you guys do.
Yeah, I mean, people don't realise we just saw the VT with, showing Luke 10 metres in the air, above 2 double-decker buses, and you wouldn't think that. Artistic do similar skills, but at a much lower level on the floor. They generate all their power through their legs, and we have this massive piece of equipment that is just so powerful underneath, which allows for you can basically there is no limit to the difficulty these guys can do. You can just keep adding somersaults, adding twists. Which makes it a fantastic spectacle, but in that sense it really is unlike any other gymnastic discipline. It's almost quite akin to diving, apart from as opposed to diving you string 10 skills together rather than just do the one off the board.
It certainly makes it a tremendously exciting discipline to watch, and I'm really excited that we've got the opportunity to share this today, and that other people get to see trampolining.
Yeah,
it's one of those sports that we see it at the Olympics,
yeah.
And especially in Rio we had tremendous results that were really exciting to celebrate.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, it's the sort of thing that people see on the beach, really low powerful trampolines. Nowadays at trampoline parks, again, much lower power than you're going to see today. These are obviously full Olympic sized pieces of equipment, incredible amount of tension in those springs that when you use them with combined with gymnastics powerful legs are going to throw you really high in the air.
So with that, we're going to see some insane skills, I would imagine. What sort of things should we be looking out for, if indeed we can identify them when they're flying around?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see them on the slow-mo replay, which make it slightly easier. I think the headline skills to look out for in the senior men's always start with 3 always start with triple somersault, normally in the pike position. We're going to see Luke and Nathan do 3 somersaults piked with a 1.5 twist at the end to start. We're going to see Tetsuya Sotomura, our Japanese guest, do a full twist in the first somersault, then 2 further somersaults with a half twist out at the end. With the female gymnasts later on, we're going to see Kat and Laura and Bryony start with, again, triple front piked with half twist at the end, probably then a double somersault followed by another triple somersault. We'll obviously talk through where the twists are and what they mean at the time.
Yeah, what we can say for sure is don't blink.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Or pause.
One of the things that I find fascinating about this final is that we've got the likes of Luke Strong and Nathan Bailey, and obviously this is an individual final, but actually those guys have competed together synchro trampolining so much in the past and had tremendous success.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't believe they do much synchro nowadays, probably because the individual rules all in trampoline. Synchro is not a Olympic discipline, individual is, and I think they both want to concentrate on their individual careers. We obviously saw Nathan out in Rio, and him and Luke, to be honest with you, have been like neck and neck throughout their careers. They've both won bronze medals individually at European Championships. They've both produced some incredible performances here, both British champion in the past. It's can they push each other on, and could we get 2 places at Tokyo? It would be tough, but who knows.
Never say never, eh?
Absolutely.
But I just think it's interesting, kind of the dynamic between those two. They must know each other so well and how they train and what skills they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think trampoline is an interesting sport in that what someone else does doesn't really tend to come into it too much, because you only compete against yourself and the trampoline and the judges. So what you do doesn't necessarily influence somebody else. So we don't necessarily have that tactical part of the game too much. That said, if someone is pushing it on the red line, you might want to play safe and capitalise if they don't quite manage to make it.
So obviously these guys had a qualification competition yesterday. It's tough even getting through the qualification, isn't it? It's, getting 10 skills in a row can often be a challenge.
Yeah, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and doing 10 it is difficult because, like I say, that piece of equipment under them is so powerful. Just one tiny degree of lean in the wrong direction, you can be from the centre of the trampoline onto the end deck. You have to be so precise.
So here are those 5 guys that made it through the qualification into today's final. The gymnasts, once again, will compete in reverse order, so our top qualifier will be last. But taking to the bed first will be Elliott Story from Olga. Next up, Reece Northover from the City of Liverpool. Third up, we'll see Nathan Bailey from Olga again. And then 2 more City of Liverpool gymnasts to finish us off in the shape of Alex Bradshaw and Luke Strong. So really quite a 2-club dominated field here.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you there. Also, we've got Tetsuya Sotomura as a guest over from Japan, who is actually leading the competition, but isn't in contention for a British title, not being a Brit. Fantastic having Tets here. He was 4th at the Beijing Olympics. Narrowly missed out on 2012 just because a couple of his fellow competitors from Japan were ahead of him. But this is a great benchmark for our guys. This is someone who has won individual world medals, world synchronized champion, been 2nd, 3rd at world championships. If they can match what he's doing on a good performance, then they're absolutely in contention worldwide. But yeah, like you say, we see quite a domination between Olga and Liverpool too. Olga, a lot of history behind them, loads of former champions, some of which are here with us again today. Liverpool probably established 15, 20 years ago on the trampoline front and have been very, very successful. Interesting again, the dynamic of obviously you mentioned Luke and Nathan both also competing for opposite clubs. It's going to be a fascinating event. I absolutely can't wait to see it.
I am very excited to get this competition started. Now also just to note, when we're looking at this wide angle here, we've got 2 trampolines. Gymnasts can choose to use either bed, right? Yeah,
absolutely, and it really depends on personal preference. If you might have one trampoline that's slightly softer in the springs than the other, maybe it's been used a little bit more. If a gymnast likes a softer trampoline, they would choose that one as opposed to a harder one potentially. Nowadays they're all brand new trampolines for each event, so there's very little difference between them. But these are live pieces of kit. If someone has come down on the side and maybe just slightly tweaked a spring and you feel a pull to one side, you're going to naturally want to actually go on a different trampoline. So also some gymnasts like being close to the judges, some like being far away. Again, that plays quite an interesting mental dynamic.
So here we go then, kicking off this senior men's British final from Olga. We have Elliott Story.
So you can see that Elliott didn't look too happy with his performance there, and he just got into it after this half in double front tucked, half twist out. He just got into a bit of a seesaw motion, almost going from one side of the trampoline to another, and he just didn't manage to calm himself down and get in control. As a result, I think he decided on doing against some of his harder skills. He finished, I think, with a double back somersault tucked. But you could see some bent legs in these positions, not really fully committing because he's trying to get everything under control, and he'll be penalised by the judges for that.
And we should say, unlike the two previous finals that we've had this afternoon, which have had 2 runs, 2 opportunities on trampoline, this is it, isn't it? It's a one routine thing.
Yeah, we used to liken it to a penalty shootout, really. You know, you've got one chance, and if you fluff that kick, you're out. Yeah, it's a little bit brutal, but I think it's actually what makes the sport quite beautiful.
It's a tall order for these guys. It's a tremendous amount of pressure for them to have on that one routine. And yeah, it looks like he's ready to go home.
Yeah, he doesn't look happy at all, and he totally understands it. They've trained all year, and they haven't quite got the performance they wanted. I think people like Elliott are pushing. You know, he wants to get up there and be mentioned alongside the Lukes and the Nathans. He's not there yet. That takes a bit of pain sometimes when you're on the red line, and you just overcook it.
And, you know, you've mentioned the British Championships. It's a really big competition in the calendar year. What does this final mean to these guys?
I think there's no doubt that the World Championships and things like that are the barometer for these guys. But being champion of your own country has a lot of kudos. Everyone wants it.
Absolutely. So there we go. We've got our benchmark score in. So let's see what the following gymnast can do. Next up, we've got Rhys Northover from City of Liverpool.
And on the trampoline from the City of Liverpool is Rhys Northover.
Yeah, again, another difficult routine, starting off again with the 2 triple somersaults, followed by multiple twisted double somersaults and culminating in a miller.
So a similar routine in terms of skill composition to Elliott's that we saw before. This is a really, really great routine from Rhys. All over the middle area of the trampoline. You will have seen on the Beattie before that there's deductions every time you come out of the middle box with the cross. There was a few of those, but not too far. Managed to keep it all around the centre, which allows him to get more power, which aids his execution. Straight legs at the end of those skills. Out slightly late there, he could have kicked out of the tuck straighter slightly earlier, but out in time in the half in, half out pike. Full twist in the first somersault, half twist in the second there. And here's where he just could have done with pushing slightly harder into some of these skills to maintain momentum, but that's taking nothing away. Really good routine from Rhys, and I hope that he's suitably rewarded from our judges.
And the judges have got quite a lot to think about in here, haven't they? There's a few different components that make up the final totals.
Yeah, so it's, again, this is something new this year in trampoline. They've got the horizontal displacement machine, which actually has force plates now under the trampoline, which measure where you've moved and deduct accordingly. That used to be a human element from the judges. That's been taken away now. Also, his score will be made up from his time of flight, how high he was, again measured by the force plate under the trampoline. Our judges will be looking for things like tightness of the tuck and the pike, straight legs on the exits from the tuck and the pike, and just some general execution elements like keeping his arms by his side.
So if the computer's looking after all of that, what are the judges looking for?
Yeah. Well, like I say, their role has changed slightly in the last few years, but they still have the human element of judging how tight the shape was, how straight the legs were. Did he hold those legs straight out of his somersault for long enough? Were his arms in position? Was he, just generally a bit flare? But no, like I say, I think that was a really good routine from Reece. And again, he's another one who's pushing for Luke and Nathan, and him getting better will help them, move on.
Absolutely, and he's moved up this year from that junior 17 to 21 category, so a solid performance.
Totally, and that's really difficult. All of a sudden being against people from your age, all around the same build, the same level of development, to mixing it with everyone in an open format, and I think he's done himself proud.
But the judges have got something to think about, obviously. Well, they don't look like they look like they've submitted their scores. They look pretty chilled. So possibly a technical delay, just waiting for this score. Oh, but there we go. We've got it in now. And it is 31.1.
So that seems to be an error in Reece's score there, possibly missing the time of flight element. That will, I imagine, just be his execution and horizontal displacement score from the judges.
Okay, so next up, we've got a familiar face. He's our 2016 Rio Olympian, where he placed 9th. He is a European and world medalist. Really, he needs no introduction. But next up, we're going to have Nathan Bailey from Olga. He's had a long wait for this routine, but he looks pretty chilled about it. He knows what's going on.
Yeah, he looks very, very focused, doesn't he? His eyes are barely blinked. He'll be used to it for sure. Look out for slightly more difficulty from Nathan than we've seen so far. Really good routine there from Nathan. He didn't quite hit it, as we'd say. There was some movement at the start where he needed to work hard because he was just down one end of the trampoline, but a higher difficulty, like we said before, than the previous competitors, and trying to make that count. Really pushing, even though he was just down that one end of the trampoline. Got it back in the end, half in triple front tucked with a half twist out. Comes into triple front with half twist out, and this is when he gets into his rhythm a little bit more in the middle of the trampoline. Starts pushing up rather than having to fight against the springs that were trying to push him down the other end.
Again, a double twisting, double back somersault, this time with half twist in the first somersault, 1.5 twist in the second somersault.
And triple twisting, double back somersault to finish. Doesn't look completely happy, I would say, but knows that that was certainly better than yesterday, where he didn't manage to complete his full plan routine.
So the score is in 58.58. Very consistent there in his score.
Yeah, really strong as well. That that was right up there with the best scores that we saw yesterday. His performance yesterday, I think, has left him out of contention for the title for sure. But you've got to be in it to win it. So let's see what Alex can do.
So yeah, next up, Alex Bradshaw from the City of Liverpool.
Bit of relief there from Alex, I think, at the end. He started strong, really went into that pike triple first move, half twist out at the end, really gave it everything he had, but just had to bend his legs at the end of that skill, which would have given him less execution points than he would have done had he kept those legs straight. Here we see that bend there. That's to allow him to push up into his double somersault, which he executes very, very nicely. Just travels slightly forward in that second triple, but again, much better on the legs and the arms, and then he pushes into his routine, but just gets out of the middle, doesn't quite hit the rhythm that he wants, and you can see throughout the routine he's fighting to make it what he wants rather than allowing it to happen. Bent legs again there out the double tuck. That will cost him. And then finishes again like many of the men with a triple twist and double back somersault. Overall, really good routine. I think you can see there that he made some form breaks, but sometimes that's exactly what you have to do.
So the score is in at 56.085 for Alex Bradshaw. Clearly a little lower than he might have liked it to be if he could have locked those legs out and some of those critical skills. But next up, we've got Luke Strong. He's a world and European medalist, just like Nathan Bailey before. He's been 3 times British champion, so he knows what this is all about.
And like you say, reigning champion, you always want to retain your crown. I normally see Luke take off early, unless he's off punch yet. He's going early again. 2 triples, 3 triples, even though he's on the side, breaks form slightly. Oh, he's on the side, goes for a 4th triple. This isn't the greatest form we've ever seen from Luke. Fighting to get it back. Okay, so did really, really well to finish his routine there, but I know Luke, I know he won't be happy. It's nowhere near what he can do. You can see that in his face there, just shutting the eyes for a second. He doesn't look too happy. Basically, he cast over to the side on this Rudy out triff, so that's triple front piked with a 1.5 twist at the end. And once you're out of the middle, you really need to fight to stay on the trampoline rather than cast over even further and off the trampoline. But you saw it cost him in power. Lots of bent legs, lots of late line outs that we saw there. Couldn't keep his legs straight out of the tuck triff. Just fighting again throughout, very scrappy for someone of Luke's ability. Did really well to complete the routine, but I don't think he'll be happy.
But critically, has he done enough? Defending champ?
That's a really good point. I think I can't remember his score from yesterday and how far ahead he was. He got superior difficulty to the other gymnasts aside from Nathan. But his time of flight has been compromised in that routine. His execution will be down, so it's going to be quite nail-biting, I think.
So with a very quick bit of maths, I don't know, actually I don't trust myself to do quick maths on any occasion. Needs quite a significant score according to that.
Yeah, needs around 54. That would be touch and go, I think, because his time of flight was down. It was scrappy for Luke. Like I say, this is, Luke is a super talented gymnast for sure. Like you say, he's, won medals at major championships.
Oh, and there we go.
Ooh, close.
A little bit of wiggle room in there. 56.7. So second on score for today, but overall does become the 2018 British champion.
Yeah, although again doesn't look too happy about it, does it? Wants a performance that is worthy of British champion and worthy of his ability, and he can score so much more than that. But he's the best on the weekend, so congrats to Luke. A British champion again is no mean feat.
That's absolutely how it works, isn't it? You've got to be the best on the day. And speaking of being the best on the day, we have got a guest competitor to finish off this final, so obviously not eligible for the British Championship, but Tetsuya Sotomura is a tremendous trampolinist.
Amazing, and he actually lived with me for 3 months a couple of years ago when he was coming to train in the UK, so I know Tets really well. Really nice, likeable guy, 33 now I believe, stayed on because he wants to do Tokyo. Still an amazing trampolinist. Going to see him start with a triple front piked with a full twist in the first somersault, no twist in the second, and a half twist in the end. Ooh, slightly on the side, changes routine, going for a tuck triple rather than a piked. Puts the pike back in, spins so quickly this gymnast, picking it back up. Really back into his rhythm now, pushing hard. Final skill. Nice. The mark of a really, really good gymnast there, that he managed to change his skills when he needed to. And, you'd have hardly have known. Really brought it back. This guy just, like I say, he's got an incredible gymnastic body. His father, also 4th place Olympian years ago. Just got genes that make him be able to spin so quickly. He's a fast switch gymnast for sure. And putting in a pike triple at move 5, really, really unorthodox, really unheard of. But he changed his routine because he was on the side to a slightly easier skill, a tuck triple, and we saw the coach Harvey Smith there at the end, just with a rueful smile of wow.
Certainly a routine that demonstrated his experience there. As you say, a Beijing Olympian, that was 10 years ago now.
Yeah, and do you know, he's been on the Japanese senior team for about 15 years. This is a guy that was bronze medal at the 2003 Senior World Championships, so literally 15 years ago. He is a phenomenal gymnast in terms of talent and longevity. Really, really fun guy as well, and I'm sure we're about to see some fist bumps.
And I feel like trampolining does that. There's so many guys that hang around, really quite a long time in terms of senior careers compared to other gymnastics disciplines.
Yeah, and I think it's all because of the equipment. So, on your tumble tracks, on your artistic floors, they pound your body, like no doubt about it. And trampolining does, for sure, but it's a powerful piece of kit that can do the work for you. But we can see there, Tetsuya and Harvey really happy, gives us a wave, and just awaiting that final total. I think we should be looking around a 58. But we shall see.
Even with all that travelling, is that just testament to the difficulty that's in there?
Yeah, I think what he managed to do was he didn't travel too much from one side of the tramp, front to back. Well, I was slightly wrong, 57.26. Maybe because actually, with the horizontal displacement machine, you can't get away as much now with the sideways travel that used to be not as visible to the naked eye. He will have cost himself a little bit of height because he was on the side, couldn't push, but like we said, picked up so well.
So were he eligible for our British Championships, he'd be finding himself up at the top there, a couple of marks in the lead, but as he's not, Luke Strong is going to be our 2018 British champion.
Yeah, and we've seen Luke and Nathan 1-2 plenty of times in the past, and I'm sure we're going to see it plenty of times again in the future. Laughing about it now. But yeah, Luke, like I say, a worthy champion. He will now be looking to really improve on that performance as they push towards the World Championships, if he is selected, which I imagine he will be in St. Petersburg in November. That's the one that they've really got to start pushing on for, a year away from Olympic qualification.
And I guess Luke really, he wants to secure that Olympic space for Tokyo, doesn't he? Having been 3-time British champion, but it was Nathan that ended up being the gymnast that went to the Olympics.
Oh yeah, but more than anything, that's what these guys want. And I've seen gymnasts before, tremendously talented gymnasts that you thought were nailed on for the Olympics, not make it. Luke is one of those that could easily go. He just needs to get it together on the day.
Okay, so we've got the rankings in now. In third place, taking their bronze medal, from the City of Liverpool, Alex Bradshaw. In second, from Olga, Nathan Bailey. But our 2018 British champion is Luke Strong. Oh, Quincy, our spectators here in the arena, they've certainly been treated to a good show this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that any sport where you're seeing the creme de la creme is always exciting, isn't it? And I absolutely can't wait to see the women's event now. Not such a big field, just the three of the gymnasts, but three with a serious pedigree.
Absolutely, we've got Kat Driscoll, 2-time Olympian, of course, the return of Bryony Page, Rio silver medalist. It's a tremendous field.
Yeah, and of course, first Olympic medal for trampoline in Britain with Bryony in 2016 has really changed things.
Okay, so I think we have now managed to get Luke Strong down on the floor, so here we go.
Luke, congratulations, you've defended your British title. How do you feel?
To be honest, it's a bit of mixed emotions. I'm obviously happy to take the title, but it's definitely not the way I wanted to do it. My routine wasn't the best, and it's not what I've been doing in training, but once again, I fought to the end and dug in when it wasn't perfect, so I'm happy to have finished 10 skills.
Yeah, talk about that routine. You had to battle through it a bit, didn't you?
Yeah, my takeoff wasn't the best takeoff from skill 1, so then just from there it was just a little bit of a fight, and then I was so close to the side that even I thought I was off, and I was like, oh God, so I just fought fast and ended the routine.
Overall, you've got to be happy. Being British champion's always a special moment, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm so happy to win the title again, and this is my 4th time, so this is more than I ever thought I'd achieve, so I'm just so happy.
Well, great job, Luke. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So really good to hear from Luke there, our new British champion. But as we say, we've got a fantastically exciting women's final coming up, and one of those reasons is the return of Bryony Page. And Bryony certainly is back.
I'm back and I'm ready to fly.
Bryony Page is an Olympic silver medalist for Great Britain.
Before Rio, we knew that I needed my ankle to be sorted. So I've been training with an ankle kind of issue for several years leading up to Rio, and just been managing it as well as we can. Went through all the rehab process, but realised that something wasn't quite right. There was still something catching it. The second operation was hardest by far. I was ready to go out as an Olympic silver medalist and perform and compete again, but to be told that it wasn't working was really hard. Fortunately, British Gymnastics and through the EIS we have a massive amount of support. We have this really cool programme, it's called GRIT, where other athletes that are maybe going through the same process of rehab, we all kind of have combined camps, which I think is really helpful because they're going through the same thing. They know how you're feeling. When it kind of goes to camps within our discipline, people there have gone through injury before, so they can relate to how you're feeling, but obviously they're not in that space at that time. Some people are getting frustrated. I know Luke's saying like, your ankle's getting to me just as much as it is to you. So I think having that team support around is really cool. Everyone speaks about how much downtime you have going through rehab. You can't really relax in some ways because you have to be really conscious about how much load you're putting through your legs, especially with an ankle injury. So I couldn't really kind of switch off and just go for a nice walk with friends or anything like that until my ankle was ready. So and I had to make sure that my recovery process was the priority. Training's always going to be training smart, training hard, and training as much as you can. What has changed is my approach. I've always enjoyed trampolining, but I can almost just take everything in and not be so anxious about something. And at one point throughout my rehab, I thought maybe I wouldn't be able to get back onto the trampoline, and it's like everything is a bonus and it just feels different. It's always exciting when you get to wear the GB leotard. I think after the Rio experience and realising, that was my ultimate dream, was to go to the Olympics, and then, winning a medal was incredible. I'm not ready to finish the sport. I have so many years left in me. I love it too much to quit now. So I'm satisfied with what I've done, but I want to do more. The support from the fans has just been incredible, and I can't wait to kind of perform in front of them for them.
Just amazing to hear about that journey that Bryony's been through. She was here in the commentary position with me last year because she was injured and couldn't participate, but for her to now be back at competition, I mean, it must have been such a tremendous high in Rio to get that silver medal and then to have the injury so soon afterwards.
Yeah, because it strips you of all momentum. All I imagine you want to do when you've won an Olympic medal is get back on and step up again and think about how you can raise your game for Tokyo. And she obviously just had to sit on the sidelines. Really tough.
But she is well and truly back today. As we say, we've only got a small field for this women's final, just 3 gymnasts, but I think they'll put on quite a show.
Yeah, because like I said before, 3 big hitters. Bryony with her Olympic silver medal, Kat, world medalist at one time, world #1 across the World Cup series, and Laura, obviously, on top of that, being the reigning champion.
Absolutely, and you were speaking about a couple of moments ago the British programme and how that's changed in the last couple of years and how they've been able to breed that success.
Yeah, so everything really changed in trampoline after London 2012 when they came together and formed a centralised programme led by Tracy Whittaker-Smith, who's now the lead head coach for men's and women's trampoline. And it changed overnight. These guys, instead of working in silos and not necessarily being able to push each other day in, day out, literally meeting a handful of times a year at squad weekends, suddenly started training day in, day out together at Lilleshall at a dedicated base where they have physio and sports science support, full-time coach support from Tracy and now Gary Smith, a former Olympian. And performances just went up. And, the likes of Bryony and Kat and Laura just pushing each other day in, day out led to, ultimately, 6th place for Kat in the Olympic final. She didn't make Olympic final in London. And then 2nd place for Bryony. It really is a true success story. And if you look at some of the juniors underneath that now coming into this system, that's only going to breed more and more success.
Certainly tremendous to see the success that these guys had on a world stage, and great to see that once again they're having that longevity in the sport. They're hanging around for another cycle and they really want to push and do even better in Tokyo.
Yeah, and trampoline is a sport that favours experience. We just spoke about that with Tetsuya, where we saw him change his skills and decide when to push and when not to in the men's to complete a fantastic routine and, although a guest, actually win the event. And we've seen from Kat specifically as the oldest of the trio, she won't like me for saying that, has used experience to such great advantage to stay around as one of the best women in the world.
Yeah, this is Kat's 22nd consecutive British Championships. I can't get my head around that.
I'll tell her that afterwards. She'll enjoy that.
22nd British Championship. But I think the thing that's so remarkable is, you know, Bryony missed last year because she had a bit of an injury. How has Kat managed to get through, you know,
yeah,
22
that is a very
years,
good question.
sort of healthy and fit and obviously still loving the sport?
Yeah, I'd love to be able to give you an answer. I have absolutely no idea because I know how brutal it is, and I missed a few with injury in my time as well. I think, you know, she's managed her workload really well. She's managed her body really well, and you have to do that if you're going to go into your 30s.
So we can take a quick look at the top qualifying routine from yesterday. Steve, if you'd like to talk us through this.
So this was Bryony's first routine yesterday. 3/4 front start, really elegant, great lines. You can see some great height as well from Bryony all over the cross. It's clear to see why this was the top scoring routine yesterday. The seniors do 4 skills in their first routine that are awarded difficulty points. Hence you can see the change in rhythm from Bryony's single skills that we started the routine with into her double skills at the end. Now into her second routine. It's the routine where every skill is scored for difficulty. Little bit of trouble there for Bryony in the corner, but she comes back to the centre. One of Bryony's great strengths is she can spin from anywhere, so even if she gets herself in a bit of a tight spot, she can pick it up. That pike so deep, which allows her to control her skills, come back and then produce a routine like that.
So the scores after yesterday, Bryony was on 102.9, Kat was on 102.155, and Laura just a little bit behind on 100.9. I mean, this could be anyone's game, right?
Absolutely, and that is exactly what you want in a final, isn't it? Rather than someone being, you know, so far ahead that we really know it's a predetermined outcome. And it shows how close they are. These are 3 really close ranked gymnasts.
Yeah, so it's going to be Laura up first, so she'll set the gauntlet for these guys to follow. But just going through their final preparations, obviously the gymnasts get one last go on the bed, don't they, before they compete?
Yeah, so a 30-second one-touch warm-up, as we call it, just to get used to the trampoline. They'll have been training, well, I say training, warming up out the back in the warm-up trampolines, but every trampoline just slightly different. I think it'll be really interesting to see Laura's routine. She's got to go all out if she wants to be in contention of first place. She is the reigning champion. I think she's going to want to go out with a bang. They've also got performance standards that they need to hit to qualify for the World Championships, so she would be really looking to show her best today.
And have all 3 of them got the ability to qualify for the Worlds, or is there a limited number of spaces?
No, it's a team of 4, or up to 4. I can't imagine it would be any more than these 3. Isabel Songhurst was a member of the team, but unfortunately hurt her ankle at the Europeans earlier in April, and she'll be out until next year. All 3 for sure definitely got the ability to qualify. It's what makes this event so happy. This really is the creme de la creme.
So we've got the warm-ups from the other disciplines still going on around the arena. And Kat's getting in the zone there, I think, a little bit.
And that's scary. Like, she hasn't blinked for about at least a minute there. I mean, that just shows the focus these guys have got to have.
And do trampolinists use a lot of kind of mental rehearsal and things like that before they perform?
Huge, yeah. I mean, they've got a full-time psychologist that they work with, you know, all on an individual basis, as and when they either want it or need it. But they do a lot of mental rehearsal in the head, as in literally visualising the skills, where they will exit, where they come out, and then do what we call actualisation. So they're almost on the floor standing. It looked probably the most bizarre thing you've ever seen as a member of the public. But, you know, practicing the pike, practicing the line of the arm while visualising it in your head. You don't ever think about what you look like, but you probably look pretty strange.
So you can see Laura making her way to her chosen trampoline bed. And I think the competition is going to get underway shortly.
From Quayside Trampoline and Gym Club is Laura Gallagher.
Laura, gymnast with a huge amount of power. If she is really on her game, really exciting gymnast to watch. Really high, like I say, really powerful, allows her to jump into her skills, keeping her time of flight up. As with all girls, starts with the first skill, triple front in the pike position, half twist out. Pushing back to the middle from Laura after a bit of travel. She needs to stay over that cross now. Double back piked. bit scrappy from Laura. And a full to finish, full twist in the first somersault, full twist in the second, just fails to kill the bed there. Just a little stumble. She'll lose a couple of tenths for that. You can see there's a little bit of a, okay, done, but not necessarily dusted. So we see out of this pike trick, she just leans back there into the half in double front tucked with the half out. That puts her towards the end deck. And then after that, she's fighting to get back into the middle, does a good job on the tuck drift, another triple somersault, but then leans back again into the double back somersault tucked. Nice straight line. She's then fighting to stay over the middle.
It's really hard, isn't it? As they hit the trampoline, that's not the same angle at which they'll take off because they obviously continue to rotate a little bit. So it's such a fine line.
And you're talking about 0.25, 0.3 seconds in the trampoline to make that decision. So, you know, it's nothing. A lot done on instinct. That's why they're always looking towards the trampoline to see when they're coming in. A lot of practice. We're talking fractions if you get it wrong. I mean, there were some nice lines from Laura there. I just know that with the travel across the trampoline, she won't be too happy.
There we go, though. I think we have got the score in. So let's see if we can get a chance to take a look at that. 53.975. So next up is going to be Kat Driscoll from Apollo Trampoline Club. As we mentioned, there was less than a mark separating herself and Bryony Page, so we're going to be going all out for execution and combining it with that tricky difficulty.
Yeah, exciting this one, isn't it? Kat, always a very neat gymnast. Tends to stay over the middle of the trampoline really well. What you then got to combine that with is really keeping that height. There's sometimes a trade-off between if you can continue to push into a move or stay over the middle if you're at the wrong angle. Oh, just coming into the end now, coming back to the middle. She cut her height there to try and stay in the middle. Just a little bit off balance, but coming back now, she's got to push up. A little bit short in that full in half out. Solid routine from Kat. I think exactly the same as Laura, and we've seen in other routines. Didn't quite get into the rhythm, just travel forward on that first skill, then she has to control it into the second, and it's so much harder to then get your rhythm back if you're actually trying to control. She cut her height into her fourth skill, that we're going to see just in a second. There's the first. There's just a little bit of travel into the half in, half out tucked. Pushes back to the middle on skill 3. And this is where she just doesn't extend as much as she normally would because she wants to stay in the middle. Cuts her height slightly. And again, she will have a lower time of flight as a result of that, but she will gain from the horizontal displacement scores of staying over the centre.
I think that's the thing I find most remarkable about this. When they have a little mistake or they drift out to the side of the bed, the composure and awareness that they have to bring it back, it's experience, but it's remarkable.
Yeah, and that is essentially, part of what they practice for. If you hit it perfectly every time, you wouldn't need to. But we know that it's actually a case of controlling, these little intricacies.
And there we go. The score is in 55.25. So, Bryony Page is going to be the last competitor. She came in first. I think she's got a little bit of wiggle room here if she can put out a clean routine.
And what a story it would be to come back and take the British title. Only competed for the first time since Rio earlier this year. Even then, she was completing a lower difficulty routine, just kind of easing herself back into competition. But she looked good enough yesterday, didn't she? She was on fine form. Will be tight, really solid routine from Kat. We just saw Kat there speaking to her coach about where her hips had gone and where her shoulders had gone and where the tiny errors were. What we saw Bryony do really well at the Rio Olympics and key to her silver medal was her first skill. Came out exactly the right time, left her in the prime position to push up into that second backward skill. Yesterday, just a little bit over-rotated in the first skill, the pike triff. Holds it really good, over the centre. Nice tight shapes. Pushing up, looks under control. Really deep pike in that double back pike. Half out pike, Full to finish. That's the British title in my opinion. Stayed over the centre. You see our coach Paul Gree is absolutely delighted. Big deep breath from Bryony, but I'm absolutely sure she's done enough.
And I think we're seeing a little bit of emotion coming out there as well with Bryony. It's, you know, a very special thing for her to come back and achieve this fantastic, you know, goal.
Yeah, I mean, 2 years of frustration, I imagine. Just look at those shapes. I've never seen shapes like it on a trampoline. Bryony's pike, it really is head on her knees. Little bit late out of that tuck triple. That cost her in that she just moved back then into the double. But what she did really well was stabilise, stay in the centre. Wasn't as high as she could do. She had to sacrifice a little bit of height, a little bit of extension in order to stay over the centre of the trampoline. But I think she's made the right decision. Really stable routine, really clean. And like I say, I'm absolutely sure she's done enough to take the British title.
Tremendous work, such clean lines, fantastic shapes in the air, and you've got to believe that that is enough. She's got a big smile on her face. Let's see if we can get that score. And it's 56.255, giving her a total of 159.165, putting her in gold medal position. Well done, Bryony Page.
Yeah, what a story from Bryony. I mean, form is temporary, class is permanent. You know, out with injury, but never in doubt that she had the mental capacity, physical capacity to come back and take the British title. Like I say, after only a few months ago, first competition at a lower difficulty. A fantastic story. And look at the score, higher than yesterday. A score that would put her in contention in international events as well, for sure. So absolutely fantastic from Bryony and well deserved.
So here we go then, confirmation of the senior women's trampolining final. Taking the bronze medal with 154.88, Laura Gallagher. In silver medal position with 157.38, Kat Driscoll from Apollo Trampoline Club. And our 2018 British champion, Bryony, most certainly is back, taking that gold medal with 159.16. What an exciting final. I know, you know, we only had a few gymnasts in there and we'd like to see some more coming up into those senior ranks in future years, but, you know, tremendous entertainment.
Absolutely, and all three gymnasts really giving their all as well. There was no holding back at all. There was no low difficulties. There was no playing at it. They were going for this one. All three really competitive gymnasts. Laura will obviously be disappointed that she didn't do enough to retain her title. I think, in fairness, that was more down to yesterday. She was always playing catch-up as she came into the final round, having not had the best 2 rounds yesterday, which makes everything a little bit more difficult. You're out there, you're on the red line, the chances of coming the wrong side of that line are a little bit higher. Kat, again, really solid, but to beat Bryony nowadays, you've got to do just a little bit more. Again, Bryony was leading from yesterday, not a huge difference between today, you know, between the two routines, but Bryony just managed to stay over that centre more, and that is what's won her the title.
An incredible final, and I think we have the chance now to go and hear from Bryony Page.
Bryony, British champion, how does it feel?
Really good. I'm just very pleased with my routine. I was wanting to improve from yesterday's, and then today's, just really happy with it. I'm improving throughout the year, so I'm good. I'm glad I've got like an increased score, and then that got me the title, which is really nice to come back after like a few years out.
Everyone knows you've had a tough couple of years. How special is it now to be back, do those 3 routines and win that title?
Yeah, it's really special to me, especially like being in front of a home crowd that have been so supportive of me like throughout my kind of injury rehab, and then just coming back to be able to perform the way that I did. I'm really happy with today's performance.
Looking ahead, World Championships is coming up. How happy are you with your form and what you're looking forward to doing out there?
Yeah, I want to try and upgrade my first routine a little bit, and then just keep improving the time of flight and horizontal displacement, and obviously execution as well. So for the second routine, so I just want to try and creep up into the 57s if I can, and just keep on improving in what I've been doing in training.
Well, great job, Bryony. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
From City of Plymouth Trampoline and
So there we go, fantastic to hear from Bryony Page. I think she's delighted, we're delighted for her, and you know, just a tremendous result to finish off these championships.
Yeah, and a fantastic British Championships as well. We saw the boys, like I said, I don't think anyone quite hit it, but plenty of potential there to move on to St Petersburg in November. The girls, Bryony, always a pleasure to watch, great routine, really deserved champion.
And the World Championships, it holds some exciting prospects for these guys, I suppose.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, this is a mid-cycle World Championship, so 2 years out from the Tokyo Olympics, the next one being the qualifier. It's starting to ramp up now, the pressure, and needing to start bringing out your performances. Qualifying starts in February for the Olympics, so yeah, they'll be really looking to lay down a marker in November, I think.
Well, it's certainly been an exciting weekend of competition here at the arena in Birmingham. From across all the different disciplines, we've been treated to DMT, tumbling, and of course finishing off with trampolining. It's been exciting for me to watch. I hope you've enjoyed it too. And thank you so much for assisting us.
Thank you for having me.
It's it's been a really exciting weekend. I'm glad to have been assisted by you and your technical knowledge. So thank you so much for that. Thank you to all the viewers at home for watching. We hope you've enjoyed this championships as much as we have. I've been Katie Foster, and thanks so much for watching.